nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable. We're talking UIL Playoffs. Rafa, how are you? We're going to discuss your picks here in a little while here, but how was your week? Because I believe you've had the opportunity to go to multiple playoff matches.
Yeah, this Friday, and then I went to one last night, headed out west to Castroville. Went to see the 4A area girls game between Bernie and Uvalde. So
And I know you mentioned that you had Bernie going further, but unfortunately, Coach Cano and guest Jacob overrode you, and well, we took a hit on that one.
yeah, the parents were like, "Hey, you picked against us." I was like, "I did it. It was Coach Cano. I picked you guys to go deep," and they're like, "Oh, don't pick us because we can go keep on winning." But like, a little thank you, and Jill, shout out to the Bernie fans for all the thanks and praises are given to the show. So thank you guys, and good luck to you guys this Friday against Canyon Lake.
Any idea where you're going to be Friday or Saturday? If it's Friday or Saturday, right? Most likely the games are.
Yeah, more likely the games Friday. There's a few interesting ones that we'll talk about, but I have one. I think I have my radar on. There's another one in your you're close to your backyard, and so we'll see what we end up picking to go into live stream on Friday.
So there was one thing that kind of popped up here, a discussion on social media, and maybe you can kind of go into to kind of clarify flipping of the coin or playing neutral or at a neutral site. Can you go into a little bit of details on how that's determined? You know, kind of what that process is. Is that thought up ahead of time, or is this, hey, two teams won? The ADs or the coaches get together and they discuss it on, Monday, Tuesday, or, whatever day that they have to. Kind of go into that process, because I know there was some discussion on why certain teams, travel south or, travel away when, the feeling is, maybe they shouldn't have to.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to the picking the games of the, for the playoff game, if both teams are mutually in agreement for a neutral site, they'll find a site, and they both have to agree to it. And then the only flipping of the coin is who's visitor, who's home, and then also agreement as far as the referees and so forth. But when it comes to home and home, it's going to be the luck of the draw. As far as the flip, and like Coach Cano said, make sure you flip tails, because it seems you always win on tails. And usually, I know I read a comment there, like one said something about, well, why are we going back to that place if we played there last year? Well, it's a different team. So when you have, let's say, for example, you're playing the same team in the playoffs from last year, you went to their place, well, they have to come to your place the following year. But since was a different team, so it's a whole new set of, flipping, and, they could have done a neutral site, but I guess it wasn't agreed upon, so they decided to do the home and home, and that was the result. But usually, sometimes these coin flips are also done even prior to games, with each team, and so a lot of the times they're already set. So if you notice, some of the tweets, some of the teams already know where they're going to play at, after they play the playoff game and so forth. So, like I said, it's really, like I said, it's luck sometimes for the home and home, but they do a lot of preparations for that, because, like I said, you have to agree with the fields, with the referees, and who's going to be home and away and so forth. And it's a process, but luckily it's not too difficult to do. And yeah, a lot of the times the ads are involved to help out, or you and the coaches just do it on their own.
Well, a lot of times I think, especially if you're going down to Laredo or, from Dallas, Fort Worth area out to El Paso or vice versa, you can't just, play a game and then 3 days later expect to take a team, 4, 5, 6 hours away, and, these are young men or young women. They've got to have hotels. You got to make sure food is set up, travel arrangements are made. So, that's why, to me, I personally wish UIL would have a little bit more set formula with it, to where if you're a higher seed, if if it's, for instance, winner of 4 versus winner of 3, then maybe you flip a coin to see whoever's had the most, home games at that point, for that here. But, to me, the higher seed should host, in the first round. Second round, if it's a higher seed versus a lower seed, then the lower seed should host. That way it kind of balances out. And it's a little bit more uniform, that way. And if it's two higher seeds that have played, then the higher seed should host. But
I think the reason why they have it for soccer, it's difficult because we do play in the middle of the week. For football, I know in high school football here in Texas, whoever's the 1 seed does get to host the first round game.
Okay.
But you're playing on a weekend, so as far as travel, it's not it's not too much. I think if you want to make it effective like that, I think the UIL needs to expand the playoffs as far as like playing in a playoff game every weekend, kind of what football does, and that would allow teams to be able to host. And you're not pulling kids out of class on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll give you one example. Like I think Eastlake from El Paso, they're playing against Euless Trinity. Well, both of them are making a 5-hour drive to Lubbock, on a Thursday at 1:00, which this is insane. So I'm sure both teams are probably travel today to spend the night in the Lubbock area to play tomorrow. I think what it needs to be done is each week have their own, like each playoff has their own week. That way if we do have to do a home and home, and if it's far away like that, it's not going to be take much time for the players, and it's not going to be too much, the recovery as far as those long distances. Because I can imagine the El Paso schools like playing one Friday in Midland and then coming back on a Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday night, playing again in Lubbock or San Angelo or something. It's gonna wear you out.
And then turn around possibly if you win that Friday, Saturday, head either further east.
Yeah, so
or back to Lubbock.
Yeah, so it needs to be changed, and I think adding, like I said, that extra, just making a weekly playoff would be fine. And I think things would be better for the players and even for the coaches, and also even for the flips too, because they can just have more time to better organize where to play at too, and not be in a big rush to do it.
I almost wonder if you're better, and I know we touched on this, on our soccer bracketology show, is if for the by district area rounds, if you had it at a for instance, I'm looking at the Region 1 bracket here, Stephenville, they're because in every here, let me so I can make sense here. In every little quad here, you've got somebody that's first, second, third, or fourth. So you could have it where the team that wins first plays, let's say Thursday, Thursday afternoon, evening, have a doubleheader there, and then on Saturday have the match there. So you could have this Thursday evening, typically a doubleheader, say 6 or 6 and 8, or however you want to do it, and then an area match around 11, 1, noon, 1 o'clock on Saturday, and that way everybody's kind of centralized and to do that. Now The only bad thing is because I think these two matches here, the regional semifinals and finals, are all in one set area. So you'd have the midweek game. So if you had this on a Saturday, you could have this on a Wednesday or Thursday, however you want, on a Wednesday, for instance, Tuesday, Wednesday. That would be a single off where you've got two teams that won that weekend meeting somewhere in the middle or at a set location, for that here. And then, of course, the regional semifinals and finals are typically at a set location known. I believe those are announced before the season, right?
Yeah. But I think, honestly, they should, I think Urida's concept would be good. The only hiccup would be kind of that regional quarterfinal, that midweek. And I think, honestly, if you do it, let's say you have bi-district one Saturday, one weekend, area one weekend, and then regional quarterfinals one weekend. So you got 3 weeks there, and then the following week you have the regional tournament, which you're going to play 2 games. If you do, like I say, you have 2 games. If you do have ats, you play 2 games, and then the following week you have state. So that's 5 weeks right there, which you can get the playoffs done.
And they do it in football. Football goes on for a while. Basketball goes on well. So
they should do the same format as football. That way, better recovery time for the players. More preparation. For the teams, because now you have extra days to practice. Recovery from injuries and so forth. I think it's more player friendly and also more travel friendly too, because you're not interfering in your school time. When you travel on late Thursdays or Fridays and so forth. So hopefully that's what the UIL will consider doing. In the future.
And more important, I know obviously the players are the main focus, but to be able to, and this is where UIL comes in. If you have it on a weekend, you're more than likely going to get more family friends that are going to be able to make that trip. Yep. Even if it's, for instance, if it's a San Antonio school going down, down south to RGV area or up to Austin, they can make arrangements, to, hey, stay at a hotel or something, something like that. And it's not just a down and back where you get, number one, you could sell more tickets, for that here. And number two, the players can get more support. So, but let's get to the brackets. We've got brackets to get through. Hoping to get out, around 8-ish to be able to watch. The World Cup qualifiers: USA, Mexico, Costa Rica, and El Salvador, I think, is who Mexico's playing.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we can get through this. If not, it may be a shade over. Looking at your boys 4A regions 1 and 2. I see a lot of green. So you got Stephenville 9-1 over Greenwood. Clint, Dumas. Clint advances on PKs. On the website, it didn't have the PKs, and I didn't want to go through digging it. Snyder won 4-2. Riverside 4-3. Midlothian Heritage 1-0. Gainesville 3-0. Diamond Hill Jarvis 3-1. Argyle 4-0. And then in the area, Stephenville 4-0 over Clint. Snyder 2-1 over El Paso Riverside. Midlothian Heritage 3-2 over Gainesville. And Diamond Hill Jarvis advances in PKs 2-2. So regional quarterfinals shows Stephenville, Snyder, Midlothian Heritage, and Diamond Hill Jarvis. So since it's just you and it's ours here at this point here, still comfortable with the regional semifinal picks, or did we need to make any adjustments for that?
I think Stephenville, I think they should take care of business with Snyder. Like I mentioned, it's gonna be a tough one for them. And like I said, Snyder's been that upstart team that no one's been talking about. And just being a second-year program to go that deep shows what they've done, what the great things they've been doing. But Stephenville has the experience, so more likely I think they'll advance. The other game, the Heritage versus the state finalist Diamond Hill, that's gonna be another great game. But I think this year, Heritage is gonna get over the hump and they should take care of business and win that game.
All righty. So moving to the bottom of the bracket, Pampa beat El Paso Mountain View 4-1. Lakeview advanced on PKs over Graham. San Eli won 5-0 over Canyon. Brownwood 4-3 over Escado. Castleberry 4-1 over Decatur. An upset that you had or that we missed here. Fort Worth Carter Riverside went down to Alvarado. Bridgeport won 6-1 over Ranchview. Life Waxahachie 4-3 over Fort Worth Western Hills. However, in the area, Stephenville, Pampa advanced 7-1. San Eli advanced 4-0. Castleberry 1-0 over Fort Worth, Carter Riverside, and Bridgeport over Life Waxahachie. So to me, I think this looking here, winner of 1, San Eli, and winner of 2, Pampa, seems to be, looking at the results, a heck of a match.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give that one. It's still almost. I still think San Eli to win that game. It'll be, like I said, it's gonna be a barn burner. Don't know where the game's gonna be at. More like it's probably gonna be in somewhere in Midland, Odessa. Knowing how, as far as like the halfway point, or it could be in New Mexico, in Artesia. So I'm gonna give St. Eli. I'm still picking them to go through. Then the bottom bracket, Bridgeport and Castleberry. Castleberry's been the surprise, but I think Bridgeport just has a little more. So I think, like I said, I'm gonna stick to Bridgeport. We'll have a Bridgeport St. Eli regional semifinal.
So looking at the other side here, I didn't get the score for the Dallas Wilmer Hutchins, but I did see that they had advanced over Arlington Summit. Nevada Community 2-1 over Terrell. Dallas Williams Prep 6-2 over Dallas Carter. Sunnyvale over Melissa, and then Sunnyvale got past Dallas Williams Prep, and Nevada Community won over Dallas Wilmer Hutchinson. So, and then in the bottom half of that, you got Paris over Lindale 1-0, Diebel over Henderson 2-1, Tyler Chapel Hill 3-0, and Center over Livingston. And then Tyler Chapel Hill 4-2, and Paris over Diebel 2-1. So far, looking good on your brackets here. Feeling pretty comfortable with Paris and Nevada.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, just if you look at what the teams they play and what the competition level they are, that's the whole reason why they're at this round, this late in the rounds. And I know for that Paris game, I heard there was a situation that they had there was a power outage at one of the stadiums, and they had to go on to another field at another high school. So. But that shows the grades of Paris, and then, like I said, that community. I think they're going to end up playing Nevada Community. That's going to be a great regional semifinal for that one.
And then Coach Cano's coming in. Oh, right, and he just left after there, so I guess he got scared. I was going to call him out for his Bernie pick, but we'll continue on here in case he jumps back. Moving up to the top here, Athens over Anna, 2-1. Dallas Oak Cliff Oak Cliff Faith Family Academy 3-1 over Dallas Pinkston. Salina over Dallas A plus Academy 3-2. North Dallas 7-1 over Irving North Hills Prep. Palestine 13-0 over Sabine. Let's try this again here. Coach, are you with us?
Yeah, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I got bad audio feed here. Sounds like you guys can hear me. I just can't hear you very well. I'll try a connection again real quick.
Okay. Palestine 13-0 over Sabine. North Bullard over Lamar 2-0. Kilgore over Madison. Cumberland Academy beat Pleasant Grove. Kilgore got past Cumberland Academy 3-0. Palestine 3-0 over Bullard. And then an upset from our pick, Dallas Oak Cliff Family Academy, 2-0 win over Athens, and Salina 4-3 over North Dallas here. So your thoughts here? Still got Salina and Palestine going through, or Kilgore looks like they're pretty solid?
Yeah, Kilgore is solid, but I mean Palestine's been they've been the team there in Northeast Texas, the East Texas area. I mean, they've been the powerhouse, and look what they did in the first game and convincing win on the second game. Like I said, it'll be Kilgore's going to give them a challenge. They're not going to lay down, but eventually, I think if Palestine will pull away and get a win. And surprise for that the bracket buster up there, Athens. I thought they would advance at least to the second, to the quarterfinal. But Salina's got a great program, just like the girls. And I do see them going into the regional semifinals against Palestine.
Up top here. Or actually, that's it for the boys here. We'll get to Coach Cano while I pull up the other one here. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. How's it going?
Well, Rafa caught some grief over your Ovaldi pick.
He got some grief, huh?
So I know you can only be on for a few minutes here, but we'll give the floor to you to your impressions of the first couple of rounds, first 2 rounds of what you've seen, and kind of any upsets, especially out west, in West Texas that's caught your eye.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what people are talking about. I mean, the brackets, it's all exactly the way we drew it up. So I don't know,
But there's a lot of red, my friend.
Oh, I know.
Well, I know someone had a lot of red. We had a lot of green.
We got a lot of. Well, that one has a lot of green. Trust me, there are some where you're missing both of the state picks for that year that have already been eliminated. So.
I know. Yeah, that's part of that's kind of part of the
fun.
That's part of the mystique, the magic, the fun, right? Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing was even last year, as kind of chaotic as last year was, and maybe the first 2 rounds. I don't recall recent memory, at least. I don't recall where this many number 1s went down to this many number 4s, particularly just right out of the gate, right in the by-district round. But so that kind of set the stage, and out in West Texas, particularly far west, out in El Paso, my previous old stomping grounds, which, as you know, I watch closely, I monitor closely, and so it's some of the been there, done that before. You look at the boys' side, you look at 5A. We got a regional quarterfinal matchup between it's an all El Paso Lower Valley matchup between 2 longtime district rivals in El Paso Del Valle and El Paso Bel Air, 2 teams that know each other very well. I believe you have to check me on this. I can't remember if it's 3. I think it's 3, if not 4, state titles between both programs. So yeah, I think they know each other very well. I remember having this conversation offline with Rafa, that a little bit online, but more so offline, that if Bel Air can figure things out early and get through maybe the first round or 2, and they're kind of coming into form and whatnot, that they could be very dangerous, because they're not your prototypical number 4, right? So that was one. Then you look at, on the girls' side, you look at Del Valle, El Paso Del Valle being upset in round 1 in the by-district round, which not a lot of people had that one outside of Burgess. Burgess will tell you that, I think. And then so it kind of just set the stage. You look over in 4A on both sides. The San Elizario Eagles, they're still in it on both sides, right? So which you wouldn't expect anything less from a program like that. Unfortunately, on the 6A side, on the girls, there are no teams remaining. So, but the schools out of Lubbock, they've fared pretty well. They fared really well, and a couple schools out of the Panhandle there in Amarillo. I know, who was it? I think the Demonettes just were eliminated yesterday. But so it's still been a lot of good. And then you've seen some of these matches where certain teams, higher ranking seeds, are even with the pedigree, they're dominating games. They're controlling possession, but it's not necessarily purposeful possession. It's not possession with points, call it, right? And then they're still kind of falling. So it's been quite a surprise for sure.
It's kind of like the Flower Mound game when they're knocking off Prosper. That was a shock there in the Metroplex. they're probably as far as the girls soccer, they're probably the most dangerous 4 seed in that region 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we could see them going to state as a 4 seed, which
Yeah.
and I think any team would see that be nervous to play.
Yeah, you see them, and they're almost like the exact mirror image of what you see right now in Bel Air, right? In El Paso Bel Air. That obviously El Paso Bel Air is not the defending state champion. Flower Mound is, but still, I mean, they're just, they're what, 2 years removed or 3 years removed because of COVID from a state title themselves. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want to be playing them right now, either one of those, right? So yeah, absolutely. It's kind of with Flower Mound, it was kind of one of those where it's an upset, but then again, it's kind of also, is it really an upset? Because of just who they are, defending state champ, and they getting it done once again versus Prosper.
Bringing back locally here, the San Antonio. We'll start with the boys. Your impressions on how they've done. Number 1 against Austin schools, and number 2 against the Valley schools. It's been, especially on the boys' side, been kind of a mixed result. Where on the ladies' side here, you're seeing quite a few San Antonio schools that are still in it.
Yeah. Props to, on the boys' side, props to the Reagan boys. Props to the Harlan boys. They're getting it done. They're figuring out. They're finding ways. They're kind of at this level, what you would still call, maybe for lack of better words, professional wins. They're getting it done. They're delivering. They're finding ways. They're figuring out ways. Because at this point, there are no excuse me, there are no bad teams.
Right.
It's just variations and what they've seen, how they play, systems. And as I mentioned to Rafa, we're at the point now where coaching also matters, right?
Correct.
It's not one of those where a coach is going to single-handedly win you a game, because they're still on the sideline, right? They're trying to make their in-game adjustments, halftime adjustments, and what have you, and preparation, obviously. But coaches can, through, if they get the decisions wrong, if they get the adjustments wrong, they can potentially inadvertently kind of, cost you a game, right? So you got to be careful with that. And not saying any single coach is responsible for any single defeat, but yeah,
it matters.
But it matters, exactly. Exactly.
Rafa, any thoughts that you got, or any final questions you got for Coach Cano, so we can get him on out of here, and that way he can continue on with this busy evening?
Going into this weekend, what can you expect as far as some of these teams have made it this far? Do match, throwing records, those records throwing aside matter, don't matter anymore? What do you see, like, as far as how do we match up with these teams and so forth? Is that going to come down to that, like the different style of play? And like you mentioned with the coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, it's a great question, because we'll look at San Antonio first, right? Well, perfect example is, going back to what Harry was asking as far as locally, in terms of, I know I just mentioned Reagan and Harlan, but on the girls' side, I mean, they've been taking care of business, right? Mm-hmm. They've been taking care of business across the board. And now, San Antonio is going to kind of be one of the places to be this weekend, going into, this Friday, whether it be Friday and or maybe Saturday. We don't know yet in terms of all the matchups, but, you look at matches like you have Reagan versus Johnson facing each other for a third time. You have Taft, O'Connor facing each other for a third time. So, styles make matchups, and in both of those cases, they each beat each other once, so this is kind of the quote unquote rubber match, right? So these are two teams, two programs that know each other very well, coaches that know each other very well. So, hopefully the moment isn't too big for either one of these programs. And I think we're going to be treated to great matches, to be honest with you. I would love to be able to attend all of these if I could. It'd be, I think it's kind of like the final group play match. It's like they're going on simultaneously, they're going on at the exact same time. So yeah. So
like tonight.
Yeah. And I am surprised though too, when you look across the state, there's more games than I anticipated that are going to take place tomorrow night, starting Thursday. So I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like maybe like a 2-day rest, that's that's really pushing it. And I saw the Bel Air Euless Trinity game. They're playing at 1 o'clock in Lubbock, and they played Tuesday night. And to travel 500 miles to that, you really are pushing your body to the limit to do a quick turnaround. And that's what me and Harry were discussing about. Maybe I think the UIL really needs to kind of look into changing the format as far as playoffs when it comes to the weeks. Maybe following similar to what the high school football does, play a playoff game every weekend. That way, it allows the players to recover from all these long trips, and also allow fans to go to these games. And you're not going through midweek, playing through midweek and not having any support or something, or missing out on school. So, like I said, hopefully maybe that's something they'll start looking really into, because I mentioned in 5 weeks you can finish in 3 weeks you can do the first 3 rounds, and then back-to-back weeks you have the regional and the state tournament, and you're done. So, and I don't think that should be a big a big deal to give an extra week of a playoff, so the players can recover from that. Especially, like I said, all those kids out west, that travel to the Metroplex or El Paso or Lubbock or Panhandle. You want to be in consideration for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, and there's obviously different schools of thought, budgetary factors, travel, all logistics. But one of the things, I don't know. There's, I did field a lot of questions in the lead up to the start of the state playoffs, where I was being asked, "Hey, why are we kind of waiting so long for the start of the playoffs?" So there was a lot of teams. If we can get in a warm up game, we can start the playoffs earlier. We can start them sooner. If we're or, so I don't know, that might be at the expense of certain schools, obviously ISDs across the state all have spring break all at different times. So, that's kind of one of those things where I think the state also tries to give a 2-week window there. But there are programs, there are ISDs, there are districts that, they completely shut down during spring break, and there are others that they play, so I don't know. I don't know if that's a kind of post-COVID hangover too, in terms of padding that part of the calendar to allow for makeups. Well, but I don't know, maybe going forward, I think in terms of making a push from administrators to at least make it an agenda item in Austin for the summer meetings in Austin, I think that really needs to be considered, or at least have the conversation, right?
I'll just say this: if it's football, and they play Thanksgiving weekend, I think I've seen some schools that play during that time period.
Yeah.
If you're going to be playing, and not saying spring break's not as important as Thanksgiving by any means, but typically Thanksgiving is a bigger family holiday,
right?
And school is off for that week as well. Yet you still, for football, we'll still have it. So to me, it's one of those things where, if there's a will, it'll happen. Now, if the ISDs don't want to do it and are happy with how it is, then it's going to be how it is. So
right, yeah, and and that's one of those things. It's a great point, because football, to be practiced, it's a badge of honor to be considered to be practicing or playing after Thanksgiving.
Correct.
To be practicing on Thanksgiving Day, right? That's in Texas high school. Texas high school football. That's a badge of honor. That's a sign. That's an indication that you're playing deep into the season. So, yeah, it's definitely how much that conversation is really happening at the state level with UIL. I don't know, but it's something that needs to be kind of re-examined, I think, for sure. So yeah. Still got a few more minutes if you guys got time.
I think that's something Tasco really kind of needs to push, to kind of iron a lot of these things out, because I think the UIL is willing to listen to them and the coaches, and anything to kind of spread out the season, but also the player safety is the number one thing, and a lot of the injuries that we have, because I've seen districts play 3 games in a week. I think especially this year when they had that little mini winter freeze, that they had to cancel games and they had to bundle games within, like, one game was on Monday and then we had to play on Wednesday, and that's a risk there for player injuries, and hopefully they'll consider, as far as with extending the playoffs. I think just playing every weekend is going to help that out.
Yeah.
And I think Alex Pena just put up a great point that I agree about the travel. Harlan played at 8 p.m. last week in Corpus. They got home at 1:30. And then, school in the morning, which is what, 7:30, 8 o'clock for most schools. I guess high school might be a little bit later, for that here. But, you figure you're getting home at 1:30. You're not going to bed right at 1:30. You figure a half hour at least to, shower, get ready for bed, that type of stuff. And then you're getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep at max. So,
right. Yeah. It's a tough one. Player safety is paramount. I think it goes without saying. I think, yeah.
But we'll start going through the brackets here again here. So let me get this over here. So this is boys 4A region 3 and 4. Brookshire Royal 11-0 over Herney. China Springs 2-1 over Little River. LaGrange 1-0 over Beeville. Maika over Gatesville 2-1. Stafford 6-0. A upset for what we picked. We had Lumberton, but Huffman Hargrave won 3-1. Houston Scarborough 3-0 over Needville, and Jasper beat Splendora, which we had Splendora for that here. And we had Splendora going all the way to the Sweet 16. Houston Scarborough got past Jasper 4-1. Stafford got past Human Hargrave 1-0. Mecca got by LaGrange 3-1 and Brookshire Royal 5-2. So it sets up Brookshire Royal and Mexico versus Stafford and Houston Scarborough, pardon me. Thoughts on the Sweet 16 there, Rafa?
Like I said, that surprises me. He going too deep, get into the quarterfinal. Same thing with Splendora losing. They're state ranked in 4A, and that some other people were picking them to go very deep, and for them to
we had them going pretty far too.
Pretty hard too, but there were others too that they thought they were
going further, yeah,
to go deep, but for them to kind of crash out on the first round was a little shocker there. But as far as the quarterfinal, I think Brookshire Royal is going to take care of Mejia. I think they're playing well. The other game, Scarborough and Stafford, that's going to be a great game. It's like a Houston area game. That can go either way. I mean, they're just playing well, but I'll give the edge that one to Stafford on that one.
Still going Stafford?
Yeah, I'll still go in Stafford on that one. I think it'll be close, but it's going to be a great game.
Did you want to adjust your Elite 8 pick, or are you still going Stafford over Brookshire?
I think Stafford, eventually may go to that. I think Brookshire is a great team, like I said, but I think in the end, I think Stafford might have just a little more than Brookshire Royal.
Moving to the bottom, Salado beat Lorena 11-0. Giddings won over Navasota 0-0 in PKs. La Vega 2 over Lake Belton. Sealy 5-0 over Caldwell. Winnie East Chambers 7-2 over Silsby. El Campo 4-1 over Houston Fur. Orange Little Cypress Maurice 2-0 over Liberty. And Columbia beat North Houston. And then in the probably the big upset that on this side here, Columbia 6-0 over Orange Little, and we had Orange Little getting past. Winnie East Chambers 5-0, La Vega 2 over Sealy, and Salado 6-0 over Giddings to set up a Salado La Vega and East Chambers versus Columbia. So you've got Salado and East Chambers. Are we still comfortable with that, or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Salado's always been a great program. For 4A, they'll get to the regional, to the Elite 8.
Any thoughts on Columbia and their margin of victory over Cypress and Maurice?
That's an eye opener there. We thought Little Surprise for me would do take care of business, but they must have caught them on an off night. But I think the next game with who do they have?
East Chambers.
I think East Chambers won't take them lightly. They'll learn from that, that game, and they'll eventually win that one.
So moving to the other side of the bracket here, Bernie got by Austin Achieve 7-2. Pleasanton got by Gonzales 1-0. Austin Eastside Early College won over Wimberley. Calhoun over 5-2 over Fox Tech. Corpus Christi London over North Mission 3-3 in PKs. Progresso 2-1. Cal Allen over Brula 2-1, and Brownsville Idea Frontier 2-1 over Idea Far. And you have Brownsville Idea Frontier 2-1 over Cal Allen. Progresso got by Corpus Christi London. Calhoun lost to Austin Eastside Early College, and then Bernie got past Pleasanton 5-0. So Bernie's going to be playing Austin Eastside Early College and Progresso Brownville Idea Frontier College Prep. So kind of how you drew it up on this section, with the exception of Austin Eastside.
Well, I had a feeling Austin Eastside was that one. I know we interviewed Bernie's coach on Sunday, and he had things to say about the Eastside Memorial, that they're a very dangerous team.
Right.
And like I said, for what they've done these 2 games, I know Bernie's not going to take them lightly this Friday. So that's going to be a great game if Bernie can. This is probably being Bernie's first big challenge here. Can they get by them? Which I think they have the team to, and I think it'll be a very grind out game, kind of similar he mentioned like that first game they had, but they were able to figure things out. It's gonna come down to, I think this is gonna come down to coaching. I think, can I make the right adjustments? Can I set up the right game plan to exploit the other team's weaknesses and get the goals to help me win this game? And then down on the bottom bracket, like I said, Progresso, didn't play last year. They're one of the favorites on the Valley, and they're on the collision course to play Bernie in that semifinal game.
Right. Yeah. I think with Bernie too, and Coach Strong, we had him on Inside Texas High School Soccer back this a few days ago, and he talked about the mentality of the team, right? How they just want a state title, but they don't view it as a target on their back. They view it as actually as there's less pressure on them now, because they've accomplished that initial goal of winning a state title, so that they're loose. And so there's a lot to be said in terms of that mentality. And obviously we know at some point Bernie's going to be challenged. But I think Coach, I will agree with Rafa, this will be maybe their first, firm challenge. How long that challenge goes for into the match, we'll see. But I think Coach Strong will have them ready.
So at the top of the bracket, Rockport Fulton 6-1 over Somerset. Comel Davenport lost 4-1 to Taylor. Lavernia lost to Beeville Jones 2-1. Idea Montpalis beat Fredericksburg 2-1. So that bracket, just got blown up. Rockport Fulton lost to Taylor 4-2, and Idea Montpalis got by Beeville Jones. 4-1. Down at the bottom, Julie Brownsville got by Idea Westlaco Pike. Far Vanguard Academy Rembrandt 3-2 over Alice. Hidalgo over Brownville Harmony School of Innovation. And Corpus Christi Miller got past Alamo Idea. And then Hidalgo 6-0 over Corpus Christi Miller. And Far Vanguard got the upset over Jubilee Brownsville for that here. So that sets up Taylor versus Idea Metropolis, and Far versus Hidalgo, Far Vanguard Academy. So I'm assuming you're still going with Hidalgo. Do you want to make a pick on either Taylor or Idea?
The big surprise is Lavernia crashing out in that first round. Honestly, so watching them play, I thought they would be at that regional semifinal, and I guess different styles sometimes you don't play the game. You have the pedigree, but sometimes if you can't play your game, yet you're playing the other team's game, that's going to doom you from the start, and that might what have happened at that game. Like I said, Taylor. I think Taylor's going to be the team. I think Taylor's going to advance. They have two really good forwards, from what I was told from some of the other coaches from that Austin area, and they could be a threat going into. They'll give Hidalgo a game, but Hidalgo's on a mission to kind of redeem themselves. And honestly, I think they're on the collision course with Bernie for that regional final.
Then the Final Four there. Your thoughts, Coach, on what happened on the top of the bracket?
Yeah, no, same. I think Rafa could have done a better job with picking these initial picks.
I believe it was a community pick on these here. So
yeah, but no, I think that I think Taylor. I mean, Coach Strong. Going back to our episode of Inside Texas High School Soccer the other night, he was very big on. Also, I know Rafa mentioned Eastside Memorial, but he also talked about Taylor pretty extensively as well. So it'll be interesting to see. Taylor will have something to say coming out of that, that bracket, that part of the bracket with Hidalgo. So yeah, so these are going to be. Now I was going to ask, have any of you seen? Because I hadn't seen it, at least as of probably about 5 p.m. The had they posted the actual site location for that Bernie Eastside Memorial match? Because I hadn't seen it.
I have not seen anything yet.
Yeah,
I have not seen anything yet.
Yeah, and I'm hoping Coach Strong didn't flip again. So I don't know. We'll see.
Let's see here. Details. No, still nothing on the UIL website. Let me check Twitter here real quick here. Bernie.
Coach Strong did mention that Taylor did beat Eastside Memorial twice, right, in district play.
Right.
Yeah, so they if they have to play someone that's they're have success with those strong teams within their district. So
yeah.
that they could be.
But I think what we're learning in that particular district too, that I think it's even stronger than maybe initially advertised.
Yeah, I'm not showing any at least anything announced publicly that I can see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't think so, but that's why I was asking, because I didn't know if there was any updates by chance there.
So moving on to 5A, Lubbock Cooper 3-0 over Amarillo Randall. El Paso El Dorado got the upset over El Paso Andres 2-0. Amarillo Paloduros 5-2 over Abilene Wiley. El Paso Irvin advanced on PKs over Cantulo. Arlington Heights defeated Crowley 1-0 in an upset according to our bracket. Wichita Falls Ryder 3-1 over North Richland Hills Birdview. Timble Tech 9-2 over Everman, and Colleyville Heritage 2-0. And then this side of the bracket just fell apart here in the area. Timble Tech defeated Colleyville Heritage 3-2. Arlington Heights advanced on PKs over Wichita Falls Ryder. Amarillo Polodoro got by, on PKs over El Paso Irvin. And the only one that we picked so far, Lubbock Cooper, going over El Paso El Dorado. But the one that hurts, if you look over here in the middle, Fort Worth Timble Tech, a state selection that we thought that would get all the way to the state semifinals, out in the area. So we'll start with you, Coach. Your thought on Timble Tech, falling in the area.
Yeah, no, this was kind of upset central. Whether you consider some of them maybe mild upsets, but yeah, I think this one was a little. I remember in terms of our bracketology episode, we kind of spent a good amount of time going back and forth.
Or pardon me, we had Colleyville Heritage. We had Colleyville Heritage going to the state, and Trimble Tech upset them. Pardon me.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
I've flipped it.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I remember we spent a pretty good amount of time on this as far as going back and forth on it, because it was a little tricky. But yeah, still some definite surprises. So yeah, I mean, tough one.
Rafa used to, so at the quarterfinals, Lubbock Cooper Or are you going with Amarillo, Polidoro, and then on the bottom half, are you choosing Arlington Heights or Trimble Tech?
As far as the top one, I think I'm going to go with Lubbock Cooper. I think they, I think the luck runs out for Polidoro on this game. So Lubbock Cooper's been a really good team this year. So I'm going to give it an advance. This one could be a tough one here. We've seen Arlington Heights play, and like I said, they gotta win over San Antonio Lee, and they like to park the bus and then play counterattack, which they actually do have a very dangerous. When we saw, they have a very dangerous forward that can put the ball in the net. It's going to depend on the styles, but I think Triple Trek knocking off Colleyville Heritage is that's a big plus. That's a big win. But same thing with Arlington Heights knocking off Ryder. But so both teams knock off two quality programs. But I'm gonna give the edge to Trimble Tech. I think they may have a little bit more. I think this might be a rematch. I think for their district play. I believe. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's winner of first place on 7 and the fourth spot on 7th here with Arlington Heights.
Yeah,
so I'll give you
those upsets really open up this part of the bracket.
So moving to the bottom, El Paso Diwali 1-0 over El Paso High School. Amarillo got by Abilene Cooper 2-0. We talked about Bel Air over Burgess. Amarillo Caprock got by Lubbock Monterey for that here. Grapevine over Aledo. Fort Worth Wyatt over Burleson Central. Wichita Falls High School 4-2 over Justin Northwest. Saginaw 3-1 over Mansville Summit. And then in the area, Wichita Falls 2-0 over Saginaw. Grapevine 2-1 over Wyatt. Bel Air over Amarillo Caprock. And Diwali over Amarillo advanced on PKs. So 1-1 for that here. So it sets up the El Paso bracket that Coach talked about earlier, and Grapevine versus Wichita Falls.
What are you gonna say about that quarterfinal game, Del Valle and Bel Air? That's gonna be probably. I think, Coach, have they decided where they're gonna play that game?
Yeah. So my sources are supposed to get back with me. I had a conversation right before I left for that Bernie Champion Jefferson match from yesterday. I was on the phone with some people, and I was still up in the air. They were still kind of trying to decide as to what day they were going to play that game, whether it be Friday or Saturday. So I think that might be the trade-off as far as location versus time of your location versus what day. I don't know. So not sure how they're going to determine that. But as of really yesterday, they could have made a decision already. I just haven't seen anything. But as of end of day yesterday, they hadn't made that determination yet. So I imagine that's getting finalized at some point today.
It'd be nice to play on the Southwestern Park.
Yeah, we talked about that. I don't know. Obviously with with Locomotive in season, and obviously that transition where it's at the baseball park with the Chihuahuas going back and forth. No telling if they would go for that. It'd be awesome to see. It really would.
Well, El Paso's out of town this week too, so most likely, if baseball's playing, which I don't know if they are or not as of yet.
I don't think they are. Yeah, it's just the grounds. They can be very picky with that kind of stuff. Any extra pounding that the surface doesn't have to take. I know they try to minimize that. So
especially with the baseball part, the infield. I worry about injuries for the Locomotive players and visitors, let alone the high school kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Any thoughts on Grapevine Wichita Falls?
That's gonna be a great game too. There, you got two powerhouses going at each other, but I think Grapevine just has a little more than Wichita Falls, so they'll advance, and they're like I said, they're gonna play an El Paso team, so we'll see which one they'll face.
And in the side of the bracket that made the other side look even better, Prosper Rock Hill went out 3-0 to Frisco Reedy. I know that was a big upset for Rafa. Carrollton Turner got by Dallas South Oak 2-0. Frisco Lone Star, who we had going all the way as well, lost Lucas Lovejoy 2-1. Dallas Adamson lost to Carrollton Creekview 3-0. And then the bottom half looks kind of decent. Red Oak won PKs 2-2 over Royce City. Longview PKs over Tyler 3-3, tied 3-3. Dallas Highland Park 3-0. Jacksonville High School 2-0 over Hallsville. Dallas Highland Park 1 over Jacksonville. We had Red Oak going through, but it was actually Longview that got the victory 2-1. And Lucas Lovejoy continues the path, beating Carrollton Creekview. And actually, it was it hold on, I got confused here. Hold on a second. Did Rockville win on that one here? Hold on one second here. Yeah, Frisco Radio won. Yeah. Yeah. So Frisco Reedy. Yeah. So we had Rockville. So Frisco Reedy, advanced by Carrollton Turner. So thoughts on Lovejoy and Frisco Reedy getting the big upsets?
Yeah, I mean that's Frisco Lone Star was the team to beat. I mean they won the same district with Wakeland. And they swept Wakeland this season, and it seemed like, okay, we're gonna have a different Frisco team representing the Dallas area going to Georgetown, and I guess Lucas Lovejoy decided, no, we're not gonna have none of this, and kudos to them. They took care of business. Frisco Reedy, like I said, little surprise there, but that just shows the quality they have as far as soccer there in that district. So that's going to be a really good game. I think the momentum beating Lone Star. I think Lovejoy is probably going to win that game, going to the regional semifinal. Bottom bracket. Kudos to Red Oak, to beat winning their game. But Longview, you got to give it to them from there on East Texas. They beat one of the powers from the Dallas area, and they got they have a really tall task with Dallas Highland Park, and
right.
That's going to be a tough game for Longview, but eventually I think Highland Park just has too much of the pedigree, and they're going to go on to the regional semifinal.
Do you put Highland Park over Lovejoy in the regional?
Yeah.
And then over here, I don't think we touched a base on this here. No, on the top here. So Dallas Hillcrest got past Dallas Signalville. Frisco Wakeland got past Wiley East. Dallas White 5-1 over Dallas Molina. An upset that we didn't have. McKinley North beat Frisco Liberty 5-4. White House 4 over Sulphur Springs. Forney 2-1 over Enos. Mount Pleasant over Lufkin 3-1, and Midlothian over Greenville 4-0. And then in the area, Mount Pleasant 1-0, White House 3-1 over Forney. Dallas White got past McKinley North, and then Dallas Hillcrest lost 4-0 to Frisco Wakeland. So sets up Frisco Wakeland, McKinley North, and then White House and Mount Pleasant.
Well, Wakeland's got a tough one with McKinney North, so McKinney North is going to roll over, even though they're the state champs, Wakeland. But I think Wakeland will find a way to win this game. Bottom bracket, that's a really good East Texas matchup. But I think Mount Pleasant is going to end up winning that one and advancing to the regional semifinals.
Yeah. The interesting piece is the randomness of, even when you look at these upsets, you have one bracket's like predominantly green, and you have one, and then the other half of it of region is just like it's murder,
Busted up.
all red everywhere. So it's odd. It's the mystery that is that's the state playoffs.
I would like to say you guys did better on the other side as well, but it doesn't look that way. So in Region 3, College Station got past New Caney Porter, which we had going quite a bit. 2-1. Austin Anderson got past Pflugerville in PKs 3-3. Katy Paytal got by Kingwood Park 3-1. Austin Northeast Early College got by Pflugerville Henderson 1-0. Sugarland Fort Bend Kempner 7-0 over Houston Madison. Galena Park 2 over LaPorte. Houston Sharpston 3-2 over Fort Bend Hightower. And Baytown Lee got past Crosby. And then in the area rounds, Baytown Lee advances over Houston Sharpton. Which was we had Crosby going through there, and then Sugarland Fort Kempner got past Galena Park 3-1. To me, the upset that we had, in this round here, Katy Paytal went out against Austin Northeast Early College, and then College Station High School got the 1-0 win over Austin Anderson. So you've got College Station High School against Austin Northeast Early College and Sugarland Fort Bend Kempner versus Baytown Lee.
I think the surprise is Northeast Early College. The school formerly known as Reagan High School. That's what they used to be called. That's 2 quality wins. I mean, they just shocked, especially the Katy Paytal win. To beat them, because they were one of their favorites for this region, and
we had them going to the state, state semifinals. So
and we know the pedigree a lot of these Katy teams have. We thought, okay, well, they're gonna probably not breeze through, but they're gonna get through because they're battle tested. But Northeast found a way to win, and I'm surprised New Caney Porter. They're in my power rankings statewide, and they just threw a blank there on that first round against College Station. So I think that College Station Northeast Lakeview game is going to be a good game, but I'm going to give the edge that one to College Station. I think they're going to win.
College Station.
Yeah.
And then Fort Bend Kempner, are they now the favorite to get out, or you still have?
Baytown Lee might I think they're going to give them a game. Like Kempner did beat Galena Park, which is in the same district. I believe with Baytown Lee.
Different.
No, they're different.
Yeah, Galena Park's 21.
Okay.
Baytown Lee's 22.
22. Okay, so that one that can go either way, but I'm going to stick to Kempner. I think they'll be a close game, but they'll get to the regional semifinal.
And then the bottom half here, Pflugerville Conley got past, or probably lost to Austin Crockett in PKs. Fulshire Jordan 1-0 over Montgomery Lake Creek. Austin McCallum lost to Pflugerville Wise 2-1. Magnolia West got by Conroe Caney Creek 1-0. Baytown Goose Memorial went over Mount Bellevue Barbers Hill. Houston Wisdom got past Angleton. Texas City got by Port Neches Groves, which I believe we had going quite far. P&G in PKs. Foster got past Waltrip, and then in the area, Foster got by Texas City 4-0. Houston Wisdom upset Baytown Goose Creek Memorial. Pflugerville Wise got by Magnolia West, and Fulshire Jordan got by Austin Crockett. So that sets up Fulshire Jordan versus Pflugerville Wise, and Houston Wisdom versus Richmond Foster.
The top bracket, I was surprised Crockett won that game. I didn't really think they
over Pflugerville.
Yeah, over Pflugerville, because Pflugerville, they had a really tough schedule. They had played some quality teams, a lot better, non-district schedule than Crockett. But Crockett must have done something to really kind of throw them off and take them to PKs and advance. Same thing, like I said, surprised with Caney Creek too, losing. They would get advanced. It's PNG is the surprise.
Did we lose you, Rafa? Rafa froze. Coach, any thoughts on this one?
No, not really. I was actually just going along with Rafa, just kind of echoing pretty much what he was saying, to be honest.
All right, so we will give Rafa a second to see if he can reboot here for that here. So moving over to Region 4 here.
Looks like he's coming back in. Or maybe not.
Yeah, he's still frozen. Nah, he's going to pop back on. So moving over here, Southwest 10-1 over Sam Houston. Georgetown 1-0 over New Braunfels Canyon. Harlandale got by Lanier, which was an upset for, on our picks here. Alamo Heights got past Georgetown Eastview 2-2 in PKs. Brownsville Porter over Farson 1, Alamo Memorial 4-1, Roma 2-1 over Victoria East, Brownville Pace over Valley View 2-1, and La Jolla Palmview 2-0 over Corpus Christi. And then in the area round, Southwest unfortunately went out to Georgetown 1-0, and Lanier went down to, Harlandale went down to Alamo Heights 2-1. Brownsville Porter got by Roma 5-1, and Palmview got by Brownville Pace for that here. Thoughts on the Region 4 5A? We'll start with you, Coach, while Rafa gets readjusted back in.
I'm back in.
There you go. Yeah, I think that very intrigued by that Georgetown Heights, Elmo Heights up there, and then bottom half. So I think you're battling there between who's going to face Porter in the regional tournament. This one, the thing with Georgetown, obviously, is they're just, they're coming along. I think they appear to be getting just hot at the right time. Whereas Heights has been, Elmo Heights they've been pretty consistent for a while now, all back to that big victory that they had over Dripping Springs back in district.
Rafa, your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, Porter's probably going to be the favorite out of this part of this bracket. The surprise is Southwest bowing out last night to Georgetown. That was, like I said, that was their real first test, probably in maybe 2 months. If you look at their schedule, they were blowing out everybody, and like I said, they had a midseason coaching change, and could that have been affected them as far as going into this game and so forth, or what decisions are made or adjustments. But it's a full opportunity for Alamo Heights, I think, to beat Georgetown and get to that regional final. And like I said, I think they can hang with Porter, but Porter just has a little more going into. Hopefully, maybe they'll get into the regional final.
And Coach, I know you got to run. I want to thank you for hopping on. Like I said here, you didn't have to. It's much appreciated getting your knowledge, especially with the El Paso schools for that here. And we'll probably talk next week as far as the results from this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you again for having me. It was nice to jump on here at least for a few minutes. And then we will be follow up. I know just a quick plug in here of episode 4 of Inside Texas High School Soccer will be coming sometime Sunday. Rafa and I we're just fine tuning when we're gonna decide with that, and then stay tuned. Probably have a couple of guests joining us as well. So thank you guys.
Last week's show was awesome, where you had a couple of coaches that came on, from the playoff teams here. So a great show with the 50-50 podcast. If you don't follow, please do, and of course, subscribe to the 50-50 podcast. If you watch the video, or if you catch the podcast, and obviously with ours as well. And also, especially if you're on Spotify, please give a like or a review as that helps, as well as on Apple if you follow on Apple. But Coach, hope you have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Let's hope U.S. gets it done tonight. Qualification is finally official tonight.
Hey, 3 minutes in and they're not down yet, so I'm looking confident here.
I like it. Appreciate you. Have a good night.
Appreciate it. All right, and that was Coach Cano from the 50/50 podcast. Like I said, here, always happy to have him on it. And like I said here, he's such a great resource to have when it comes to high school soccer, especially covering the schools out west for us here. So, any final comments that you got here on the top half of Region 4 on the 5A boys?
Just like I said, a little surprised that I think soccer went a little bit further. I was anticipating that matchup with Alamo Heights. That would have been a great game here in San Antonio, but
still in here, yeah,
it wasn't meant to be. So, good luck to Alamo Heights. Hopefully they can knock off Georgetown. I don't think we have gotten the details yet for that game, but it's one step away from getting to that regional tournament in Corpus Christi.
Your thoughts on Southwest? It was 1-0. Do you think? And I know I've made mention the coaching change mid-season. We didn't. Do you think that's and I know it's impossible to say this, but do you think having their old coach would have made a difference, or do you think Georgetown is because we've seen Southwest get this far, and then when they face the Austin area schools, struggle to get past that?
That could have been a factor, because the Coach Jaramillo had a lot of experience, and so not to say that the coach, the interim coach doesn't have it, but as far as the decision making, it's more, like I said, was through Jaramillo, and that could have come into play. But you also, Georgetown, you got to give big kudos to Georgetown. They probably had a great game plan. They made some whatever adjustments, because they did see how dangerous this team was and how many goals they were scoring in their district play. They made the right adjustment, got that one goal, and they was able to defend and get the win. And I think Southwest moving forward, like I said, they'll regroup. Like I said, it's a great program that's hopefully they'll continue their success. Maybe some things that maybe I know, like you mentioned with the district, not being as strong as some of the other ones, is maybe going to have a really tough non-district schedule. Playing some, going to some of these, these tournaments or showcases like the ones in Katy or the ones in Dallas, like that Dallas showcase and so forth. To at least get battle tested early on, regardless of the result. At least you'll see that type of game speed when you go to the playoffs, and you'll be ready for it. And then hopefully, that'll probably end up getting the results that you're looking for to move forward.
And then moving down to the bottom here, Dripping Springs got by Leander Glen 8-0. Medina Valley on our bracket got the upset over Brackenridge 2-0. Leander Rouse 6-1 over Kerrville Tivy. Edison advanced on PKs over Southwest Legacy. Rio Grande City 6-3 over Flower Buff. Mission Sherryland got by Brownsville Lopez in what was an upset on our side. In PKs 1-1. Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial 6-0 over Laredo Martin. And do I have that right here? Veterans, so that's scores wrong here. Veterans Memorial, or Brownsville Veterans Memorial got past Far San Juan, Alamo Southwest 1-0. However, in the area, Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial knocked out Brownsville Veterans Memorial, which is a upset on our bracket because we had them getting out of the matchup with Dripping Springs. Sherryland got past Rio Grande City 3-1. Leander Rouse 4 over Edison, and Dripping Springs 9-0 over Medina Valley. So with Brownsville Veterans Memorial falling out, does that open it up for Dripping Springs to take on Brownville Porter on our bracket from the top, or you think Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial is one that can hang?
don't overlook Sherryland. Sherryland got a big win over Bronzo Lopez, and Sherryland has the talent to knock out, like I said, to make that run. Then they're making that run. Um,
You got them beating a veteran, Corpus Christi.
well, depending,
Veterans Memorial.
I think that's going to depend what the game is going to be. If the game's in Corpus Christi, I'm going to give the edge to Veterans Memorial. But if it's in the Valley, I wouldn't be surprised Sherryland gets the victory on that one, because they'll have a crowd out there for that game, and I'm not too sure if that's already been scheduled or not.
I don't believe so. Looking at the details of it here, yeah, it doesn't. At least on the state brackets that I go by, it doesn't have it there. And I know I try to go by what the state brackets say, so that way I don't get in trouble.
Well, like I said, Sherryland's trying to get hot. Let's see, I'm actually looking. Yeah, it doesn't say yet who they're going, as far as where they're going to play at, but I kind of smell upset here on this one. I think Sherryland's going to pull this one off.
We will make the adjustment, and then you got Dripping Springs going through now though.
Now they got a tough one with Leander Roos. Leander Roos is not going to, like I said, roll over, and they're going to give him a game. But eventually, like I said, I know that one's going to be played at the Burger Center there in Austin. So it'll be a tough test for Dripping Springs, because Roos has talent as well. But eventually, I think Dripping Springs will win that game, and then that Dripping Springs Sherryland game is going to be a really good game for a regional semifinal.
If you were to pick, you got Dripping Springs.
That one I would give the edge to Dripping Springs,
and then that would set up a Dripping Springs Brownsville Porter final for that here. So then let's look at, while I pull up the next brackets here for the 6A boys here, your thoughts overall on the 5A?
Quite a few upsets. That's a big thing, and we saw some of these teams that were 1 seeds that there were favorites to go deep. For them to bow that early, it's a surprise. Was it because of bad preparation, or everyone has a bad night, and that's sometimes, or maybe the matchup, they didn't match up well with that team, and the other team had a good, game plan to pull out the win.
So moving on to the 6A boys, Region 1 and 2, Keller 3-2 over North Crowley. Odessa upset El Paso Franklin 4-1 on our pick'em here. Hearst 2-0 over South Lake Carroll. El Paso Sirocco got past Friendship 4-4 in PKs, which was an upset on ours. Dallas Jesuit got by Arlington Martin. I know we were kind of 50-50 on that one, and we went with Arlington Martin, but Jesuit got the PK win. Louisville beat Prosper High School 5-4. Austin Bowie got by Richardson Purse 2-1, and McKinley Boyd won in PKs over Flower Mound. And then in the area finals, Keller got by Odessa 1-0. Hearst got by El Paso Sirocco 1-0. Louisville got past Dallas Jesuit 1-0, and McKinley Boyd got past Arlington Bowie 1-0, 3-1 on there, which sets up Keller versus Hearst Bell, which is what we had predicted, and then in the bottom, Louisville versus McKinley Boyd, which we did not have either team making that run.
Yeah, the surprise was Odessa High knocking off Franklin at Franklin. Odessa High didn't really play all that well this year. Franklin did. They bounced back to this season, and to put 4 goals on them shows that was a surprise for them to advance. I had a feeling, so like I said, I think I did call Socorro for the upset on that one. I know Coach said maybe Friendship.
And I went with the Friendship, yeah.
Yeah, I think because Socorro having those big wins towards the end of the season is really giving them momentum, and that's why they're able to knock out Friendship. Yeah, the one with the Arlington Martin, that was, like I said, that one was a kind of a 50-50. Well, with Dallas Jesuit, um, they got into the playoffs, at the on the pecan last day, and they were able to knock off, like I said, Arlington Martin. I knew they were going to be a dangerous team. Same thing with Prosper getting ups. That's a surprise. Prosper getting upset. So, but going down to the regional quarterfinals, like I said, Keller's got it. That's going to probably be the one of the best matches there at the Metroplex. Is going to be Keller versus Hearst Bell. Two teams are state ranked and nationally ranked going head to head. Louisville, kind of your little Cinderella there. They have an opportunity to get into the regional finals, but they have a tough matchup against McKinney Boyd. So I'm going to give McKinney Boyd the edge on that one. I think they'll maybe come out on that because, like I said, they beat a quality Arlington Bowie team. So, but
and Flower Mound too.
Flower Mound, yeah, Flower Mound was a state champion 3 years ago. The one that they knocked off Lee. So
on this side, you did much better. The only upset was Pebble Hills over Midland Legacy 1-0. Euless Trinity 3-0 over Bayern Nelsis. El Paso Eastlake 5-2 over Odessa Permian. Timber Creek 1-0 over Pascal. Plano advanced on PKs over Denton Geyer. Dallas Lake Highlands 3-1 over Arlington Lamar. Allen 2-0 over Scott's Coppell High School. Irving 4-1 over Grand Prairie. Allen advances in PKs over Irving 2-2 in PKs. Plano 2-0 over Dallas Lakeland. Eastlake all over Timber Creek 7-0, and Euless Trinity 3-1 over Pebble Hills. So sets up a semifinal, quarterfinal hill. Trinity, Eastlake, which is what we had. You had Eastlake advancing, and then Plano, Allen, which you still had Allen, or the group had Allen advancing. So your thoughts on this side of the bottom half of the bracket, where everything, at least how we picked, kind of went to form?
Yeah, I mean, Eastlake's on form. Now they got a tough one with Trinity. That's going to play at Lubbock Cooper High School. So both teams got a 5-hour drive. Actually, tomorrow they're playing tomorrow at 1:00.
So they may already been leaving, or they're going to leave early in the morning, right?
Yeah, so they're probably already there. I have a feeling they probably left today to stay overnight, and it's going to be a tough game. Who's like, as far as the long drive, who's kind of fresh enough a lot quicker and ready to go. So, but I'm going to give the edge to Eastlake. I think they're on a mission. I think they were disappointed last year, and I think even though they have a little target on their back, but also I think they have a chip on their shoulder for not getting the job done last year. So they're gonna. I think they'll get by Euless Trinity on the bottom bracket. I'm gonna give Allen the edge on that one. Plano will give them a game, but Allen just has a little too much talent, so you'll see an Eastlake Allen rematch, coming up.
So on the other side, Region 2, Temple fell to Waxahachie 1-0. We had Temple advancing. Rockwall Heath got past Sachet 4-0. Duncanville 4-0 over Colleen. Rockwell 2-0 over North Garland. Klein advanced over Langham Creek in PKs. Houston Westfield 2-1 over Conroe. Tombo 3-0 over Cypress, and the Woodlands College Prep. I have that sure here. This is 6A. Just to make sure I have it right here. I just didn't advance it. Houston MacArthur. MacArthur got past the Woodlands College Prep for that here, and then MacArthur got by Tomball as well here. So your thoughts on the bottom half here?
Yeah, a lot of surprises are with the Woodlands losing. Woodlands is one of the teams that traditionally is a really great soccer program, and to get knocked off by MacArthur was a shock there. Same thing with Conroe too. Um, surprised they got eliminated. Langham Creek is the one I thought was going to be one of one of the favorites, and to lose to Klein. And I know Klein has a tradition, but Langham Creek just has been doing well this season, and just to crash out in the first round was a really shock. And then Waxahachie being Temple, I think that's a minor upset. I think I had a feeling maybe Waxahachie, it's a little tougher district, could pull a surprise. So, but as far as some of the matchups, that Duncanville Rockwell Heath, I'm gonna tell you something about Rockwell Heath. Their keeper's been on fire, and also video on him blocking some PKs with every part of body you can think of. I think that could come down to, if it goes down to penalty kicks. It goes, like I said, extra time to go to penalty kicks. I wouldn't be surprised if Walker Heath walks away with a win there. I think they have the keeper to carry them and get them, help them keep them in games and get wins. So, but I'm gonna give the edge a little to Duncanville, but won't be surprised if Walker Heath gets into the regional semifinal. Then on the bottom, Klein, like I said, with the history with that program. I remember Coach Baker. He's the most winningest coaches in Texas high school soccer history. It's really established that program. So we'll see. More likely, we'll see a Duncanville Klein regional semifinal.
And for those that are watching us, but has the CONCACAF qualifiers on, Mexico is up 1-0. Just scored, and in the U.S. match, it's still nil in the 20th minute. For those that are keeping up with the U.S. and Mexican national teams here. Bottom half of the bracket: Tyler Legacy 4-0 over Garland, Mansville Lake Ridge 3 over Belton. We had Rowlett, losing we had them getting past North Mesquite, but it was actually North Mesquite getting through. Mansville got past Copper's Cove 3-1. Adeline got past Grand Oaks. Klein Kane got past Cypress Bridge. The Woodlands 4-0 over Houston Nimitz, and Cypress Ranch 3-2 over Klein Forest. Then the Woodlands got by Cypress Ranch 3-0. Cypress Bridgeland got by Grand Oaks 2-1. And North Mystique got by Mansville 1 in PKs, and then Mansville Manville Lake Ridge got by Tyler Lake Ridge. Or actually, here, let me double check that. I hate when I don't do that right. This is 6A. Six A 1 and 2. So Tyler, and then so Mansville Lake Ridge advanced, and then Mansville advanced. Past North Mystique. Yeah, so that's right.
So Mansfield Legacy versus Mansfield.
Mansville Lake Ridge versus Mansville.
Mansfield. Okay. So that's a district game right there.
Yeah, second and third in Region 11, and then Cypress Bridgeland and the Woodlands, through there.
Yeah, Bridgeland, for their surprise, they knocked off Klein Kane. But they have a really tough test with the Woodlands, and I think the Woodlands ends their playoffs right there in their quarterfinal, and we're probably going to see, like I said, a Woodlands versus. I might lean towards Mansfield Lake Ridge. I think because of head-to-head district play. Like I said, it is tough to beat a three team 3 times, but I'll give the edge to Lake Ridge on that one. But the Woodlands should win the game against Lake Ridge.
Moving over to the 3 and 4 here. Katie Taylor upset Richmond Fort Bend Bush 2-1. Jersey Village got by Houston Westbury 3-1. Katy Seven Lakes 1-0 over Fort Bend Clements. 2-1 Cypress Ridge over Bel Air. League City Clear Springs 2-1 over Leaf Taylor. And Deer Park over Houston King. Leaf Elsick 3-2 over League City Clear Creek. And Pasadena 3-2 over Houston Summer Creek. And then in PKs, Pasadena gets by Leaf Elsick. And Deer Park got by League City Clear Springs 4-0 for that here. So both of those upset our picks that we had going in there. Katy Seven Lakes 3-2 over Cypress Ridge. And Katy Taylor, got by Houston Jersey Village 2-1.
Yeah, the Jersey Village was the original semifinalist that Lee beat last year.
Mm-hmm.
So they out early on the second round by Katy Taylor. So that sets up a Katy District quarterfinal. So I'm still going to favor Seven Lakes to win that one. Down on the bottom, Deer Park with two quality wins to get to the quarterfinal. The shocker is there's Ailey Felsick, who was one of the favorites to win Region 3, to lose in PKs. And I was looking forward for that Deer Park Ailey Felsick game, but I think that game against who's that? Is that Summer Creek? Who they playing?
Which one?
Ailey Felsick.
They lost to Pasadena.
Pasadena. Okay, yeah, I couldn't really read it. I'm gonna give the edge to Deer Park over Pasadena. I know. Pasadena got a big win over Ailey Felsick, but I think Deer Creek's gonna advance.
It was in PKs, yeah.
Yeah, and then the regional, and then that for the Elite Eight, that's gonna be a great matchup: Deer Park versus Seven Lakes.
Bottom half, Houston Lamar got past Houston Northbrook 4-2. Katy Tompkins got by Missouri City Ridge Point. Missouri City got by Katy Tompkins 1-0. Houston Cypress Creek 2-0 over the west side. Katy Cinco Ranch got past Sugarland Fort Bend Austin. In PKs, for that here, Houston Dobie 5-2 over Atikoska. Houston Strake Jesuit 2-1. Humble over Channelview. And Pearland upset League City Clear Falls. And then Pearland upset Humble 2-0. And then Stake Jesuit got past Houston Dobie 3-2. Cypress Creek got past Cinco Ranch. And then Missouri City Ridge Point got by Houston Lamar. I know we had Katy Tompkins going fairly decent, and then on the bottom we had League City Clear Falls going pretty far. But outside of those two teams, which unfortunately were the two that we had going the distance, we did pretty well otherwise.
Yeah, Tompkins, they speak highly of them a lot for Region 3, and honestly, I thought their region was for the regional tournament, it would be represented by maybe two Katy teams. I think Tompkins has been a real, legit team that's been beating up on teams and stuff and quality too. But to lose that first game was a shocker there. As far as now with the quarterfinals, that's going to be a tough matchup to kind of, to pick on that. But I think Cypress Creek's probably going to have the edge on that one. And then on the bottom bracket, I think Straight Jesuit has the edge on that one over Pearland. Yeah.
And then if you were to choose between Cypress Creek and Pearland, or Stake Jesuit,
that's a coin flip there. I think I'll stick with Cypress Creek on that one. I think, but it'll be a close one with Straight Jesuit.
On our side of the bracket, Reagan got by New Braunfels 5-0. Austin Bowie upset Round Rock McNeil on our selections. Smithson Valley got by Brandeis 2-1. Westlake got by Round Rock Westwood 2-1. Mission upset Brownsville Hanna 2-1. Del Rio upset O'Connor 3-2. Juarez Lincoln got by Los Fresno 2-0. Laredo Alexander got by Marshall 5-2. And then Juarez Lincoln lost to Laredo Alexander 4-2. Del Rio 4-0 over Mission. So that sets up a Del Rio Juarez Lincoln.
Well, it's actually Alexander.
Pardon me, Laredo Alexander
Mhm.
for that here. And then Smithson Valley. Smith, and I think you had, and then Smithson Valley over Austin Westlake in PKs, and Reagan 3-0 over Austin Bowie, which, if memory serves me right, San Antonio schools struggled against Austin schools last year outside of Lee. Is that correct?
Yeah. So that bracket, I thought Rock McNeil would advance because they're one of those dangerous teams that, but like I mentioned, Coach on the last show, they're like a Jekyll and Hyde team. They know when to turn it up, but sometimes they also struggle, and I guess they ended up turning to the doctor to the Hyde on this game. Kudos to Simpson Valley knocking off Westlake and PKs. That's a big booster win for them, and that sets up a rematch from one of the first games of the season. I know there was a lot of smack talking on this game. Yeah, we beat you 5-0 and this and that. Well, this is the second season, so things have changed, and I have Smithson Valley is going to probably be gunning for revenge on Reagan, but it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a shame whoever loses that one. But I'm going to give that, as far as the edge on that one, I'm going to give the edge on Reagan. But don't, like I said, Smithson Valley's not going to be rolling over for them. It's going to be a great contest. The shockers are down the bottom is like to the Valley route. O'Connor should have beaten Del Rio. I was at that game, and just 3 defensive mistakes, bad miscommunication cost them the game.
That's what it takes, though, right?
Yeah, and that sometimes happens in games, but they really dominated on that game. That better, talent-wise, it was a little bit more better as far as technique. But Del Rio, you got to give kudos to Del Rio as far as their players. They capitalize on those miscues and bury those in, and then big win for them winning against Mission. The shocker also down there is
Where's Lincoln
losing to Alexander, and I saw Juarez Lincoln play here. I thought they were a decent team. Maybe within I saw them here at the Northeast Showcase. And I thought, okay, maybe they're being good form, ready to go. But Alexander took it to them and got a good win. And this actually sets up a rematch from last year's quarterfinal that was played at Ferris. I think this one is going to be played at Alamo Stadium. And I was at that game last year. And Del Rio had swept the series on Alexander. I think this year it's like they split. Last year's game, Alexander basically shredded him. Actually, I had to kind of give kudos to actually one of my club players. He had not played the whole game, both district games because of injury, and that was his first game, one of his first games back, and he's basically dismantled their midfield and really led on to that victory. So I know Del Rio's going to be gunning for revenge on that for Friday's game against Alexander. Like I said, both teams are peaking at the right time, so it's going to come down to I probably could come down to who makes the least mistakes, but I'm going to give the edge to Alexander. Like I said, they finished ahead of Del Rio in district play, and like I said, I did see some of the videos. They played a little bit better than them, but it's going to be a close game. But eventually, they're going to run into a Reagan team, and Reagan's just top notch.
Would you say Reagan or Smithson Valley, whoever wins that top matchup?
Even if Smithson Valley wins it, Smithson Valley will win the next game. So whoever wins
would be favored by you.
Yeah, will be favored. So, but Reagan with that suffocating offense and that press, if you can't get out of that, you're in trouble. And I think that's been the difference for a lot of these games. So plus they have quality goalkeeping, midfielders, great players. good forwards. So they're a complete team. So like I said, they're one of my favorites. Going into hopefully getting into the state tournament.
Bottom half, Lake Travis over Round Rock 5-0. Schertz Clemens upset Lee. I know. I thought Clemens came on late.
Mm-hmm.
Lee was a little bit choppy at the end. Vandergriff got past Davali. 1-0. Johnson got past Cibolo Steel. Laredo LBJ got past Brennan 3-2. Donna North got the win against Edinburgh. We had picked Edinburgh, but Donna North got through. Harlan 3-0 over Laredo Nixon. And Brownville Rivera got past Edinburgh North 3-0. Harlan ended up picking up another win over the Valley Schools 2-0 over Brownsville Rivera. Laredo LBJ got by Donna North for that here. And then Lake Travis, Vandergriff, beat Schertz Clemens 7-3, and then Johnson 1-0. So Austin, Lake Travis, Vandergriff, Laredo, LBJ, Harlan. Can Harlan get by the third Valley School?
With LBJ, it's going to be that game's going to be in Laredo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's going to be hot down there, and they're playing on turf. So make sure you drink your Pedialyte and your Kool-Aid, not your Kool-Aid, your Pedialyte and your Gatorade. I still think Harlan will win that game. Like I said, LBJ, I've seen him in the past. Good coach. The issue with them is their players play. They don't play as a team. They're more individual stars. They're individual. Try to dribble through 2-3 guys.
The one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one. So and that's been good enough for them to win games. But when it comes to a team that's complete like Harlan, there's going to be some difficulty there. So Harlan should win that game. That Lake Travis Vandergriff game is going to be a great game too. Don't know where that's going to be at in Austin, but you see what Lake Travis has been doing. They've been blowing out teams left and right, but this is going to be their first true test. And Vandergriff, like I said, they had a good run last year. They'll make a good run this year coming up. But in the end, I think Lake Travis is going to win that game. And then that's going to set up the rematch from last year in that regional semifinal with that
Blossom, right?
That Blossom, that game that I think felt that that game was stolen from Harlan on a bad call, on an obvious offside. So, and Harlan's going to be gunning for revenge on Lake Travis. So that's going to be a great game, and hopefully, like I said, we'll be out there to go watch that game.
So your thoughts on Clemens and Johnson going against the Austin schools? I know Vandergriff and Lake Travis are the powerhouses in the South Central area. Your thoughts on their seasons? Well,
you kind of pointed it right about Clemens coming around the right time, and I mean I thought they would have an opportunity. Going into the Vandergriff, I think they would have an opportunity to beat them. I'm sure
Lake Travis is just on a different level.
Yeah, they're Lake Travis right now. Yeah, they're on a different level. Lee, I mean, I think maybe the injuries caught up to them, and those losses also took a toll on them. Hoping they'll bounce back. They were young this year too, so with that being then inexperience, and you lost Joey Patron, who's one of the best keepers. It was one of the best keepers in the state last year. It's hard to fill his shoes. So hopefully, they can fix that. And I think don't be surprised next year they'll bounce back. And I think they're going to probably be one of those teams that's going to roar back and be a contender again for the region.
So Harlan, I watched them played once, and it was district. Defensively, they're at least one of the top defensive teams in the area, if not the state. Lake Travis, looking at their scores, seems to be more on the offensive side. Come playoffs, is there an advantage if you're – and I'm not saying Lake Travis is poor defensively by any means, but, Harlan, from my understanding, it's that defense, that pressure that you mentioned going against Lake Travis. how do you kind of see that game playing out?
That game, if it's a low-scoring game, it's going to be a favor for Harlan. If it's a high-scoring game, it's going to be for Lake Travis. I think the only team that maybe as far as the keep up with Travis, as far as a high-scoring game, would probably be Reagan, because Reagan has that type of offense to put up goals, which that would be also an awesome regional final too. But Harlan going into, if they get into this game, they got to build a really good game plan to really shut down that Lake Travis offense, which they did last year. Because they took them to to PKs and so forth, and so I'm sure the coaches has the possibilities of getting them to execute that game plan. So, like I said, Lake Travis is not going to take Harlan lightly, and I think they'll remember that from that game that they should have lost because of that one bad call.
So the good news is this week there's only one round, which is this weekend. So we'll be able to kind of set up whoever wins, between the Sweet 16 matchups here, for that to kind of really preview that regionals, semifinals and finals here for that here. So that completes the guys' side. If you were to pick one upset, and one team that you think that Hayes on a road, for the title, between the 4A, 5A, and 6A, who is the most surprising upset, and who's the team that you think that so far results wise that's in pretty good shape?
I think the one that's in pretty good shape would be like an East Texas, like a team like Palestine. I think they're in good shape. The one surprise could be out west is that Bel Air team in 5A. I think they can if they knock off Del Valle, and I'm Grapevine, I better be prepared for that game. It's like Coach mentioned, they're not playing like a 4 seed. It was just an off year for them, but that's why you call it a second season. It's win or go home, and when you're peaking at the right time and everything's going for you, that makes you a very dangerous team, into the playoffs. So, and then the other favorite, I think, also for 4A boys will be Bernie. I think Bernie's, like, they're playing, like Coach Strong mentioned, they're not playing with any pressure at all. Teams have to beat them in order for them to no longer be the state champs. So they're just playing. They're out there having fun, playing their game, and I think that's great on them, because the pressure is really being built on those other teams.
So moving to the ladies, for that here, we will start out 4A 1 and 2 regions here. Stephenville got past Lubbock Escado 2-0. El Paso Mountain View fell Love 6 to Pampa. San Angelo Lakeview 6-1 over Mineral Wells. Dumas beat El Paso Riverside 5-0. Midlothian Heritage 13-0 over Fort Worth Eastern Hills. Burke Burnett 4 over Castleberry. Benbrook over Life Waxahachie 4-0. And Irving Ranchview 2-1 over Decatur. In the area, Benbrook 2-1 over Irving Ranchview. Midlothian 6-0 over Burke Burnett. San Angelo Lakeview with the upset on our picks for that here, with 3-0 win over Dumas, and Stephenville 8-1 over Pampa. So that sets up Stephenville versus Lakeview, and Midlothian Heritage versus Benbrook. Your thoughts on the top half there? I'm seeing a lot of green, which I like.
Yeah, the surprise was Dumas. I mean, really, I thought they would have handled San Angelo Lakeview, but you got to give it to San Angelo Lakeview, the Lady Chiefs. The Maidens. They came out to play. They proved everyone wrong, and they're on to the quarterfinal, which they have a tall task with Stephenville. So, but kudos to them, for getting to that, get this far.
And so Heritage just seemed like it's on a Salina path here as far as the putting up scores for that here. And any shot you really give to Benbrook, or
no, I don't think Benbrook would. It'll be maybe close early, but you can tell their Midlothian Heritage is on a mission, but they're on a collision course with Stephenville, and that's and normally that would probably be like your regional finals. It's just going to be a shame that that's it's going to be your quarterfinal. I mean your semifinal game, but I'm still going to give the edge to Stephenville on that one.
Bottom half of the bracket: Canyon 7 over Clint, Snyder 4 over Graham, San Eli 8-1 over Borger, Brownwood High School 4-1 over Midland Greenwood, Argyle 5-0 Bridgeport, Kendale 2-1 over Fort Worth Carter Riverside, Gainesville 1-0 over Springtown, Alvarado 3-0 over Jarvis Hill. Alvarado gets by Gainesville in PKs on a 0. Argyle put up almost 3 touchdowns with extra points, or so 3 touchdowns and 1 extra point, 19-0 over Kendale. San Eli 3-1 over Brownwood, and Canyon over Snyder for that. So it sets up Canyon versus San Eli and Argyle versus Alvarado, which is the upset that we had, because we had Gainesville that was going to be facing Argyle High School. But does it matter?
Man, Argyle, 19 goals. Is that a state record for playoffs?
And Mexico just got their second right before that.
So we're going to the World Cup. Just looking at these brackets, San Eli's is going to get a test from Canyon, and that's not a gimme game for San Eli. Can they break down the door and get to the regional tournament? I think they have a shot. It'll be close. But like I said, don't count on Canyon. I wouldn't, like I said, you can go either way, but I'm going to give the edge to St. Eli on that one. But on the bottom, Argyle's just at another level right now. Alvarado, hopefully they don't allow more than 10 goals in this game. If I'm Alvarado, I'll play park the bus, play 5 in the back and 5 in the midfield, and just hopefully take them to PKs or something, because like I said, Argyle's just on a mission, and then I still have Argyle as my favorite to get into the regional final.
Moving to the other side, where I believe it's District 11 Invitational, I think is what we're going to start calling it. Turl over Cotto Mills, which we unfortunately picked bad and selected Terrell to get by Cotto Mills. Dallas Williams Prep 4-1 over Dallas Pinkston. Salina 7-1 over Athens. Wilmer Hutchins 7-3 over Arlington's Summit International Prep. Palestine 3-1 over Sabine. Tyler Chapel Hill 1-0 over North Lamar. Henderson over Crockett. Paris over Lindell. And then in the area, Cotto Mills 10-2 over Dallas Williams Prep. Salina 14-0 over Dallas Wilmer Hutchins. Palestine got by on PKs over Tyler Chapel Hill, and Henderson 2-0 over Paris High School to set up at the top. And you're going to see at the bottom of the bracket, District 11, all 4 of their schools are in the regional quarterfinals. But Cotto Mills versus Salina, and then Palestine versus Henderson High School. So a lot of green, with the exception of the bad choice of picking against District 11, which was bad on our part.
I mean, I thought Terrell would win that one, and you see the score. It was a tight game of 2-1. I guess it just wasn't their night for that game, and then we weren't too sure with the picks and the prep. We weren't really too familiar with those 2 clubs, so we didn't. We thought Pinkston would get by that, but
tougher district,
tougher district. But man, Kettle Mills putting 10 goals, only allowing a safety. And then Salina tops that by scoring 2 touchdowns with Wilmer Hutchins. So high scoring game between Salina and Kettle Mills could be. Maybe Salina wins on a 2-point conversion on this game.
But I think that they know each other. It's probably going to be closer, more defensively, and I'm not saying that the talent wasn't equal or anything along those lines, but District 11 is one of the toughest just men's, boys or girls. It's one of the toughest districts that I've seen in what the 3-4 years that we've been doing this.
Mhm.
Historically, that district at this level has always put teams, in the regional finals, semifinals, along those lines.
Well, here's an interesting stat about this between Cattle Mills and Salina. Salina's won both games 7-0 and 7-2.
Oh,
So it
it's
could
not
be
looking good.
not looking good for Cattle Mills. So it could be a repeat. But look at what Cattle Mills did. It shows how tough a district they're in. So they're battle tested, and like I said, it's tough to beat a team 3 times, and maybe Cattle Mills comes into they're playing on a neutral site. They make a big game plan to stop Salina's leading scorer, who I think now she has trying to get her stats up here. She's averaging 2.3 goals a game.
Wow.
And
she was going to Tech, right? I think you guys mentioned.
Yeah, and that's scary itself. She's got 52 goals for the season. So I'm sure she got double hat tricks on that game. But Cattle Mills has to kind of, if they could shut her down and build a little game plan, and and be able to do like score on counters or mistakes, they could have a shot. But like I said, in the end, I think Salina is going to end up winning that game. And then
Palestine Henderson, do you give them any shot, or it's I know I call joke around with the Dripping Springs Invitational. Is this side really kind of the Salina Invitational?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, it'll be Henderson and Palestine. That's gonna be a great game, but I just don't think they have the firepower to stop Salina. Especially you cannot. The only way, if they can stay in this game, if it's a low scoring game, especially when you play teams that score a lot of goals. If you make it to like a 0-0, 1-0 game, then you have a shot. And that starts to make those teams nervous. Not be frustrated, not be able to score a lot. That's how you can upset them. But it still is going to be Salina, I think, advancing.
So the bottom half of the bracket, North Dallas 8-0 over Dallas Oak Cliff Faith Family Academy. Melissa 4-2 over Sunnyvale. Dallas Carter over Irving North Hills Prep, which is a big upset, score wise.
Mm-hmm.
Anna over Mabank 1-0. Texarkana Pleasant Grove 10-0 over Van. Longview Spring Hill over Lufkin Hudson. Bullard over Pittsburgh, and Kilgore with the upset on ours over Livingston. They followed up with the upset of Bullard. Kilgore got the upset over Bullard 2-1, and Longview got the upset over, Longview Springview got the upset over Texarkana Pleasant Grove. And we did pick District 11 ranked. Melissa 6-0 over North Dallas, and Anna 7-0 over Dallas Carter.
So, that District 11 again, Anna versus Melissa. And Melissa actually won the season series, the district series. They did play, like I mentioned, they played them twice. This was a lot closer than the other side. Melissa barely beat Anna 1-0 in February. And then the other game on early January, it was a 2-0 game. So this could go either way. Since this is a much closer matchup, Anna could figure out how to stop Melissa on this game, and hopefully they can execute that game plan to get to advance. But I think the bottom line on this, I think more likely Melissa's going to advance on this one. The bottom bracket, like I said, I think Spring Hill will beat Kilgore in that game, and they got a good quality win over at Pleasant Grove. Mm-hmm. But nothing bad to say about Kilgore. They got 2 good wins too as well. So, but I think Longview Spring Hill will probably win that one. But I don't think it's gonna matter. It's gonna be more likely a Salina Melissa matchup in the regional final.
When you're looking at it here, District 15, outside of their fourth place, Sabine has been very solid as well. Where the winner, runner up, and third place all have done very well. So, but I know it's not the same as District 11, but that is something that I did notice that outside of Palestine, beating Sabine 3-1. It's a very competitive district as well with that region or District 15. So moving over to Region 3 here, Sealy 5-0 over Smithville. Burnett got the upset over China Springs on ours 1-0. Giddings 9-0 over Columbus. Salado 3-0 over Robinson. Bay City put up 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions over Houston North Forest. Orange Little Cypress Maurice 4-0 over Liberty. Freeport Brazo Sport advanced on PKs over Houston Fur. And Sour Lake Hardin Jefferson 6-1 over Hampshire Fannet. Hardin Jefferson ended up getting 4-1 over Brazo Sport. Bay City continues their touchdowns with 2-point conversions, 8-1 over Cypress Maurice. And Giddings upset our pick, Salado 2-1. And then Sealy lost to Burnett 6-1, which was a surprise for us because we had Sealy going pretty, to the Elite Eight there. So your thoughts? So it sets up Burnett versus Giddings and Bay City versus Hardin Jefferson. So the bottom half we got right. The top half we swung and missed.
How about Burnett Cinderella story there? 2 big wins, but they're going to come into a team, Giddings team that's had in the power rankings for the state. They're heavily favored. Yeah, but you got to give Giddings a props to knocking off Salado because Salado's is an established 4A soccer program already. Giddings is still kind of new, but for them to knock off Salado in that second round, that's a good quality win for them. It's a statement win. So more likely, like I said, there'll be a good game with versus Burnett, but it strikes midnight there for Burnett, and it's going to be a Giddings win on that one. Bottom bracket, Bay City's just clobbering everybody. I just don't see Hardin Jefferson. Maybe they'll Bay City will score a touchdown and miss the extra point or something, but
that's still going to be ugly, though. Yeah, you have a feeling.
Yeah, and then that game versus the Giddings versus Bay City game, that's going to be a really good game. But also, I'm going to give the edge to Bay City on that one.
It looks like 18's fairly solid. I know in the bottom half here, but they got three out of the 4 out of the first round, so which was solid. Lake Belton, speaking of the winner of 18, rolled Waco La Vega 7-0. Navasoto got past LaGrange 2-0. Lorena got past Gatesville 2-0. Cameron CHEO 2-0 over Bellevue. Vidor got past Huffman Hargrave. Columbia got by Houston Washington 7-0. Lumberton 8-0 over Splendora. And Needville over Scarborough 6-0. Lumberton didn't do the 2 points, just kicked the field goal 7-0 over Needville. Columbia 2-1 over Vidor. And Lorena 4-0 over CHEO, and Lake Belton 9-0. So they got the touchdown and a safety over Navasato. Sets up Lake Belton versus Lorena, which is what we had. And then, unfortunately, Huffman Hargrave lost in the bi-district round. So it's Vidor versus Lumberton, winner of 21 versus the 4th place in 21.
Yeah, that first matchup, that 16 matchup between Lake Belton and Lorena should be a really good game, but I think Lake Belton just has a little too much. So I think they're more likely to advance. And then Vider and Lumberton, that's an East Texas matchup, but I think Lumberton's going to get by Vider. And so we'll have a Lake Belton, Lumberton regional semifinal, which I think I'm going to favor Lake Belton on that one.
And then moving over, Beeville Jones got past Somerset 3-1. Idea Montrose lost to Canyon Lake 7-1. Uvalde got by Gonzales 2-1. Bernie 9-0 over Austin Achieve. And Brownsville Idea Riverview got by Lyford 12-0. Kingsville Santa Gratuitous Academy 6-0 over Edinburgh. Idea Edinburgh. Jubilee Brownsville got by Idea Far. And Corpus Christi London got by Idea Alamo. In the area, Canyon Lake got by Beeville Jones 6-1. Bernie got by Uvalde. I know you wanted to roll.
I got outvoted on that one. I knew Bernie was going to win, so I'm perfect for that bracket.
But the Uvalde girls had a great year, and unfortunately, unfortunately, ran into the buzzsaw Bernie.
Yeah. And that was last night, and I'm gonna just say this is Bernie's got a really good quality team. They can touch the ball well. Their passing's great. They had to make a couple little adjustments. It was a close game. It was only 1-0 at the half, and the game almost got tied within 30 seconds. That goalie made one of their defenders made a great save, blocked the shot from going into the net, and had that gone in, this could have been a different result. But once that save happened, Bernie just turned it up, and they ended up scoring like crazy. Then it could have been a lot worse. They had missed. It was a win. I think the wind also kind of affected a lot of their shots, but they end up getting a quality win. And like I said, now they have that quarterfinal matchup with one of their district rivals, which is we're still waiting to see where they're going to play that.
Do you favor Bernie over Canyon Lake?
Yeah, I think I think they'll win that game and they'll advance.
Although Bernie fans want you to pick against them, so
yeah. I mean, like this is what I talked to the parents and say. Canyon Lake's a great team, so it's hard to beat. When you face each other a third time, it's going to be difficult because you already know each other's kind of tendencies. So you have to be very creative on your game planning, or also watching your video. Like, what can you see that's different from the first two games? What can you exploit that they may not know that you can take advantage of? But I think Bernie is playing at the right time, like picking at the right time. I know Canyon Lake is too, but I think Bernie has something to prove. I think because of last year's loss to Cal, and everyone had Bernie favored to go to the state tournament. I think they have something to prove, and I think Bernie's going to get to the regional tournament.
So you think Bernie gets by either Corpus Christi, London, or Kingsville, Santa Gratuitous?
They're on a mission. I was very impressed with one of their midfielders, number 10. Their forward, number 8. She's got a great shot. I mean, she's very physical. Can beat you off the dribble. Very complete team. So that's the thing that's going to probably be a difference. And I think that's what made a difference from last year. Last night's game was they were more of a complete team as far as technique wise. No, nothing bad to say about Uvalde. Like I said, they're going to learn from this, and like I said, it's only going to make them better for next year.
Down at the bottom, Wimberley 9-0 over Austin Eastside Early College. Pleasanton 3 over Palacios. Comel Davenport got past Georgetown Gateway College Prep. Lavernia got by Rockport Fulton. Idea North Mission got by Ingleside 4-3. Hidalgo got by Rio Hondo 4-0. Cal Allen 15. Vanguard ACA Academy, ACA Rembrandt 0. La Feria. They actually lost to Raymondville 5-4. For that here, then Cal Allen 9-0 over Raymondville. Hidalgo 3-2 over North Mission. Cumberland Davenport got by Lavernia 5-0. And Wimberley got by Pleasanton 3-0. So it sets up Wimberley, Davenport, Hidalgo, Cal Allen. I know Cal Allen, you mentioned a powerhouse. Davenport, I think, has been kind of the surprise. Coming out.
Yeah, that they beat a team that won 20 games in the first round, which, that Gateway, we weren't too sure. We saw who they played and I think the difference was the district play. And because Davenport, I think 26 4A is a lot tougher district than 25.
Yeah, 25 lost all 4 matches, and
Yeah, so
not even close.
yeah, and that just tells you they're out, just the quality of soccer they have in 26 4A, and Davenport took advantage of that. Great second round win, knocking off Lavernia at Lavernia, and this sets up another district rematch with them against with Wimberley, and could this third time be the charm for Davenport to knock off Wimberley into the in the playoffs, and going into this.
And I know we made comments on District 11 having all 4 teams. District 26 also has all 4 teams still alive at the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and just kind of going over, I'm just going over the little schedules here. The games between Wimberley and Davenport, there was a tie and a 2-0 win from Wimberley. So it's been close. This could be a close game, but this game is at Wimberley, so they have the home field advantage. But I think when you're playing at home, it's a lot more pressure on you to win. So Davenport's going to go in there with nothing to lose, and that's a little dangerous factor going in. I smell upset on this one. I think Davenport pulls off the upset and wins this one.
Oh, you got.
I have a feeling there's going to be an upset on this one. I think Davenport is playing at like I said, the results from the first 2 games, they lost a close one, but I think this could be the one. I think it's tough to beat a third team, especially in this district. And like I said, they beat 2 quality teams to maybe compare to what Wimberley had to go through. So I think Davenport could end up knocking them off.
What about Hidalgo and Cal Allen? Hidalgo got much of a shot?
I'm going to give Cal Allen the nod on that one. I think Cal Allen, being the state finalist last year, they got something to prove. I don't think Hidalgo has the pedigree as Cal Allen. So this could it could be a close game or it could be a rout, but I'm going to give the edge, and then we could see a Davenport. I think we're going to see Davenport and Cal Allen in the regional semifinals.
And that's 4A. So let's move to 5A ladies. All righty, so moving on to the 5A ladies here. Lubbock Coronado 5-0 over Amarillo Tascosa. El Paso Bel Air 3-2 over Andres. Abilene High School 4-1 over Abilene Wiley. Cantulo 3-1 over El Paso Jefferson. Burleson Centennial 9-1 over Fort Worth South Hills. Wichita Falls Rider 3-2 over Birdville. 2-1 Burleson over Fort Worth Trimble Tech. Colleyville Heritage 4-0, and then Colleyville, unlike the boys' side, ended up getting to the regional quarterfinals for you. 2-0. Burleson Central got past Wichita Falls Rider 2-1, so both of the Rider teams fell in the area. Amarillo 2-1 over Cantula, and Lubbock Coronado got by El Paso Bel Air. So as far as on this side of the bracket, perfect so far. Any changes you want to do, or are you pretty comfortable with outcomes?
I think it'll be the same. I think Amarillo should win that game against Coronado. That'll be a tough game, but Amarillo will win that one. Bottom bracket, that's a tough one. Got to give it a Colleyville Heritage. They've good quality wins there, but same thing with Centennial. They're basically on a collision course, but I think I'm going to give Burleson the edge on that game.
Moving to the bottom, Burgess got by El Paso Diwali in an upset for that here. I know that Coach was talking about that on the day it happened. Amarillo Randall got by Monterey 2-0. El Paso El Dorado lost to Here, let me just double check that here. Did I not update that right? Yeah, hold on, make sure I click on the right one here. 5-1. Yeah, El Paso. Yeah, so I did have that wrong. El Paso upset El Paso El Dorado 5-0 or 5-1. I think we had that right. I just didn't click on the right one here. And then Lubbock Cooper 1-0 over Polidoro. Grapevine 8-0 over Granbury. Timberview 4-1 over Arlington Heights. Wichita Falls 1-0. And Mansville Legacy 5-0. However, Wichita Falls 1-0. Let me see if they've updated the Grapevine Timberview. Grapevine actually won 5-1. So Grapevine is moving forward. Lubbock Cooper and Amarillo Randall got by Burgess 2-1 here. So for that here, so sets up an Amarillo Randall versus Lubbock Cooper and Grapevine versus Wichita Falls High.
Yeah, that's looks like that's what's gonna end up happening. Cooper should beat Canyon Randall. Close game. It'll be a close game, but bottom is going to be a really tough matchup for Grapevine against Wichita Falls. But Grapevine should advance, and as I said, we'll have a Cooper Grapevine regional semifinal.
Then moving on to Region Dos, Dallas Sunset lost to Carrollton Creekview 3-0. Frisco Wakeland 1-0 over Wiley East. Dallas White got by Dallas Samuel 9-0. Lucas Lovejoy got by Frisco Reedy in PKs. Jacksonville lost to Mount Pleasant 2-0. Red Oak upset Forney for that here on our picks. Longview got past Nacogdoches, and Midlothian High School got by Royce City. Midlothian followed it up with a 5-1 win over Longview. Red Oaks 3-0 win over Mount Pleasant. Dallas White got by Lucas Lovejoy, and then Wakeland got by Carrollton Carroll. One thing that I noticed on this side here, a lot more closer matches on this side of the bracket.
Yeah, I think Region 2 really is like one of the toughest regions because I think a lot of the club, because of the club soccer influence, they're especially like with a lot of clubs there, FC Dallas and Texans and Solar. So a lot of those players are getting quality play off season, and that's why you're seeing a lot of more competitive games. Surprised
Costa Rica out of the United States right now 1-0.
Oh, then he far more goals. Surprised, Lucas Lovejoy lost to Dallas White. That's a surprise there, but I don't think Dallas White will beat Frisco Wakeland. Wakeland has, as I said, they're one of the traditional powers for 5A girls soccer. Bottom bracket, got to give it credit to Red Oak. They have a great program. Big wins over Forney and then going on against Mount Pleasant. So, but they're going to run into a really tough Midlothian team. But I'm going to give the edge to Midlothian on that one.
Yeah, because we had Forney getting through there originally before Red Oaks, and they beat them convincingly 4-0. Yeah. So, moving to the bottom half, Prosper Rock Hill 3-2 over Lone Star, Frisco Lone Star. Wilson over Adamson 5-0. Frisco High School 5-1 over the Colony. Dallas Molina over Carrington Turner. Joshua over North Forney. Hallsville over White House High School. Dallas Highland Park over Clelborn 8-1, and Longview Pine Tree over Lufkin 4-2. Highland Park 4-1 over Pine Tree. And Joshua over Hallsville 2-1, Frisco over Dallas Molina, and Prosper Rock Hill over Dallas Wilson. So you're perfect on this one here. Still feeling good about Rock Hill and Highland Park.
Yeah, I think, like I said, Rock Hill, I think they have the tougher game against Frisco. Um, Highland Park should take care of Joshua, but I still see our props for Rock Hill versus Highland Park regional semifinal.
Moving over to 3 and 4. Kingwood Park 2-1 over College Station. Austin Anderson 3-1 over Bastrop. Magnolia 4-0 over Porter. Pflugerville Weiss 1 over Austin Liberal Arts and Science Academy. Richmond Foster 9-1 over Sharpstown. An upset on our picks. Mount Bellevue Barbers Hill 2-1 over Goose Creek. Angleton 2-1 over Waltrip. Santa Fe upset Crosby 2-0 in our picks here. Santa Fe followed it up with another 2-0 win over Angleton. Richmond Foster doubled Mount Bellevue Barbers Hill 6-3. Magnolia got by Pflugerville Weiss 1-0, and Kingwood Park got by Austin Anderson 2-1. So on our side here, outside of Santa Fe, which pulled the upset over Crosby, pretty good. 3 out of 4. Kingwood Park, Richmond Foster, still your favorites?
Yeah, I think those two are going to advance. Like I said, Santa Fe, great, 2 great wins, but I think it ends there with Richmond Foster. I think they'll
Another goal by Costa Rica.
They need 4 more.
30 minutes left. Is this what Trinidad and Tobago all over again? Distractions. Bottom of the bracket for those that are still watching. What's funny is I said, "Hey, we should get out of here," but within an hour. Yeah, it's we've doubled that and still going. Pflugerville Henderson 4-1 over Axton Richard School for Young. Fulshire Jordan 1 over Montgomery Lake Creek. Austin McCallum over Pflugerville 3-0. College Station A&M Consolidated 2-1 over Montgomery. Friendswood 6-0 over Nederland. Fulshire High School over Milby 2-1. Manville High School over P&G. Port Neches Groves 2-1. And Sugarland Ben Kempner 2-0 over. Manville got the second upset here over Sugarland Benville 2-0. Friendswood 3-0 over Fulshire. College Station A&M Consolidated 4-0 in Pflugerville Hendrickson. I do know that Jacob said College Station A&M Consolidation, even though he went to A&M and we were kind of giving him some grief, but so far they've shown that they can beat some quality opponents.
Yeah, so they've been a good program out there, like I said, but they got a really tough matchup with Pflugerville Hendrickson. Hendrickson's had, like I said, they've had a little history having quality girl soccer teams. I know they had a little bump in the road in the past couple of years, but I think they're back, and like I said, they're going to be the favorite there against A&M Consolidated. Friendswood, what are you going to say? They have the history as far as the tradition of being the great soccer program in the Houston area, so I still have them going against Pflugerville Hendrickson in the regional semifinal.
So first versus fourth there in District 22, so obviously pretty good. Next to the Dripping Springs Invitational and then Kid with the other schools here for that here. But Dripping Springs 4-1 over Leander Rouse. Edison 1-0 over Southwest Legacy. Cedar Park 2-1 over New Braunfels Canyon. Medina Valley 9-1 over Brackenridge. Flower Bluff over Mission Vet Memorial 4-0. McAllen Memorial 8 over Donna. Gregory Porton 11-0 over Laredo. Segura and McAllen Rowe 3-1 over Brownsville Vet Memorial. However, Gregory Porton got by 2-1. McAllen Memorial 4-1 over Flower Bluff. Cedar Park rolled Medina Valley, and Dripping Springs matched them over Edison, each with a 9-0 win. So a powerful, from my understanding, just following here, the 4 teams in the Sweet 16, all quality programs.
Mm-hmm. The one difference is that the one on top really have the pedigree as far as soccer. That's going to be Dripping Springs versus Cedar Park. I think that is a rematch from last year's regional final. That I think they went to PKs. this is going to be Dripping Springs' first real test, and will they be able to pass the test? Cedar Park's going to give them a game, but I think eventually Dripping Springs finds a way to they'll figure them out, and they'll get by this game and roll into the regional semifinal. On the bottom bracket, two good teams there: McAllen Memorial, Gregory Portland. But I think Gregory Portland has a little more than McAllen Memorial, and I think we're going to see a Dripping Springs Gregory Portland matchup.
And second here. Oh, we didn't do the top, did we? Top Southwest got by Burbank 4-0. Liberty Hill 2-2 won on PKs over Alamo Heights. Jefferson 4 over McCollum. Bernie Champion got by Georgetown 1-0.
I didn't win that one. I got outvoted on that one.
Brownsville Porter got by Sherryland. Victoria West Palmview. McAllen 8-0 over Ed Couch Elsa. And Corpus Christi Veteran Memorial got by Laredo Martin. McAllen 5 over Corpus Christi Vets Memorial. Victoria West got by Brownsville Porter. Bernie Champion got by Jefferson 10-0, and Liberty Hill rolled southwest of San Antonio here. So sets up Liberty Hill, Bernie Champion, and Victoria West, McAllen.
Yeah, that's going to be Liberty Hill versus Burning Champion. That's going to be a great, awesome game.
But we said during the discussion, whoever won this match
is going to go on.
Was going to go pretty far. And I think that's going to be shown. And it shows that this was a real close match going into PKs as well.
Yeah. Now, going back to that Alamo Heights game, does that show Bernie Champion has a chance? I think it does. And it's going to be a knockout, drag-out game for that contest. And that one, don't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Bernie Champion pulls the upset here, but I'm still leaning towards Liberty Hill. It's because I said they got the edge a little bit, but if Bernie Champion can get ahead in this game and keep a lead, they can pull it off and get to. And I think eventually they could end up getting a third rematch with Dripping Springs in the regional final.
Do you give Bernie Champion, or Liberty Hill the advantage over McAllen? Assuming that you're still going to pick them over Victoria West. Just
like I said, both teams have more quality than. I think the only team that maybe challenge Liberty Hill and Bernie Champion would probably be McAllen. McAllen will give them a game, but they just don't have the level of what Liberty Hill and Bernie Champion have right now.
So moving to 6A here. Let me get this brought up here, the last of the brackets here. South Lake Carroll, hold on, let me put it on here. South Lake Carroll 7-0 over Fort Worth Chilsom Trail. Friendship 3-0 over El Paso Eastwood. Timber Creek got by Hearst Bell, which was an upset on ours. Odessa Permian 4-2 over Odessa Permian over 4-2 over El Paso Americas. South Grand Prairie 2-1 over Dallas Lake Highlands. Allen over Coppell 3-1. Richardson Purse 5-0 over Grand Prairie. And Carrollton Hebron lost to McKinley Boyd, and I think that was the big upset, even more than Hearst Bell for that here was Hebron going down, right?
Yeah, that was one of the big upsets here in the Dallas area. I was shocked that Hearst Bell lost. And for Hebron to lose to McKinney Boyd was a big shocker there, because Hebron was one of those favorites to kind of go deep, maybe go 2 or 3 deep in the playoffs, and possibly even 4. So kudos to McKinney Boyd, and then they got another quality win over the
Richardson person.
But now they have a tough test against Allen, and I'm going to give the edge to Allen on that one. And Allen should win that game. It'll be a tough one, but Allen will buy it. And then on the top bracket, Mojo, the Mojo Magic has gone to the girls soccer team. Good starting win against Americas. They had to come from behind on that game. Beating Timber Creek was a surprise there. It's rare one of those Odessa Midland teams to beat one of those Dallas area teams, but they're able to get it. But I think it stops there. I've seen Salt Lake Carroll play. Yeah, Salt Lake Carroll's going to go through that. We'll win that game, and it's going to.
Do you still have Southlake going through? Because before it was going to be against Carrollton Hebron, but now against Allen, and Allen's putting up some pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah, that's going to be another great game there too. But I'm going to give Salt Lake Carroll the edge on that one.
Still the advantage.
Yeah.
Bottom of the bracket, a little bit more red in the second round. San Angelo Christian San Angelo Central 4-0 over El Paso Eastlake. VR Eaton 5-1 over Pascal. El Paso Franklin 2-0 over Midland High School. Keller 5-0 over Weatherford. Fort Worth Marcus 2-1 over Denton Geyer. Arlington 3-0 over Irving MacArthur. Flower Mound got past Prosper, which was an upset on our side here, and I think going down distance. Arlington Martin 2-0 over Richardson. Flower Mound ended up beating Arlington Martin 6-0. Fort Worth Marcus 5-1 over Arlington. And then in the two upsets, Keller beat El Paso Franklin 7-0, and VR Eaton upset San Angelo Central 4-0. So it sets up a Fort Worth VR Eaton versus Keller and Fort Worth Marcus versus Flower Mound. And I'm going to go get me a bottle of water here while you discuss this.
Yeah, for the top bracket, I already thought San Angelo Central would kind of make a deep run past the second round, but like I said, I got to give it to the Eaton team. Great win for them. Franklin, I think they had a tall task with Keller. I had a feeling Keller was going to win that game. It's just the Dallas area level is a little bit higher than El Paso right now when it comes to girls 6A soccer. So Keller's going to be the favorite going in against Eaton, and I think Keller will advance to the regional semifinal. Now the bottom bracket, the biggest upset, probably the big upset in 6A was Flower Mound, which are the defending champions, knocking off the number one team. A lot of them claim to say the number one team in the state for girls soccer was Prosper.
And they're nationally ranked too, right? The Prosper girls.
Yeah. So that was the big upset there in Dallas, and then they just steamrolled Arlington Martin. But now they face their district rival, the Marcus Marauders. So that's going to be a great game. To pick a winner, that's going to be tough because, like I said, beating a team, 3 times it's difficult, and just kind of looking at the
the United States just missed the goal.
The results of them. I'm just going to go over the results really quick for that game. Just a head-to-head. Like I said, Flower Mound doesn't have the record to show for that, but they're pulling it off here. They did tie Marcus in the first game. Actually, the last game they face, and the first time they played Marcus, they lost 3-0 at Marcus. So a better result in the second game. Could it be a win on the third game? Possibly, but I'm going to give the edge to Marcus on that one.
Is there I'm just trying to see, it doesn't say where that where that match is going to be at, but it doesn't really matter a whole lot, because they're local schools, right?
They're district rivals, and more likely they'll probably play maybe like at Louisville High School, a school, one of their districts, like a neutral field. So that'll be but that's going to be a great matchup.
So moving to the other side of the bracket here, Belton got by Midway 3-1. Shashay got by Rockwall Heath 2-1. Mansville got past Temple 7-0. Mesquite Horn over Rowlett 3-0. Cypress Woods over Tomball 1-0. Spring Grand Oaks 8-0 over Westfield. Klein got past Cypress Falls 4-0 and the Woodlands College Park 6-1. In the area, Klein put another 4-0 victory behind on their belt. Cypress Woods got a 2-1 victory over Spring Grand Oaks. Mansville got a 3-1 win over Mesquite Horn. And in an upset on our picking, Belton got by Sachet 3-2 here. So it sets up Belton versus Mansville and Cypress Woods versus Klein. So did we want to update the Mansville pick with Belton, or we're still comfortable with Mansville going through?
I think Mansfield is going to win that game. It'll be, like I said, it'll be another tough one for them, but I think Mansfield will win that one. And then bottom there, I say Klein should advance, so we'll see probably a Klein Mansfield regional semifinal on that one.
So this one went pretty chalk. Moving to the bottom here, also for fairly chalk for for the first round. Second round changed a different story here. So Rockwall got by Garland Lake View Centennial 4-1. Duncanville 11-0 over Copras Cove. Wiley 1-0 over Tyler Legacy. Mansville Lake Ridge over Harker Heights 3-1. Houston MacArthur 2-0 over Willis. Houston Cypress Ranch got the upset on our picking over Spring Klein Oak. The Woodlands over Spring High School 8-1. And Tomball Memorial 5-2 over Bridgeland. And we had Cypress Bridgeland going through on the picks. And then we had selected in the area around the Woodlands were going to advance, but they ended up losing to Tomball Memorial 2-1. And MacArthur lost 0-5 to Cypress Ranch. Wiley got by Mansville Lake Ridge, and then Rockwall got by Duncanville. And I think was the upset on our side of the bracket because we had Duncanville going pretty far.
Yeah. Surprised that Duncanville lost to,
And then Cypress Bridgeland as well was the other big one that we had going down.
Yeah, going in that regional quarterfinal, I think Wally will be the favorite on that one against Rockwall. Well, you know what? I'm going to give the edge to Rockwall because, I mean, to beat Duncanville, it just shows the quality of team that they are. So I'm going to give the edge to that one to Rockwall, but it'll be, like I said, that'll be a close game. Tomball Memorial, that's a surprise there, to knock off two quality teams, and it's going to be a tough one against Cypress Ranch. But I think Tomball Memorial is going to advance and go to the regional semifinal.
And then moving over to the 3 and 4, Missouri City Ridgepoint 2 over Katy Taylor. Cypress Cy-Fair 7-1 over Houston Heights. Seven Lakes over Fort Bend Elkins 1-0. Houston Memorial 5-0 over Lamar. Clear Lake 5-1 over Alvin. Humble Atascosa 3-1 over Pasadena Memorial. Pearland advanced on PKs over Clear Springs from League City, and Kingwood got by Doobie. In the upset on our side here, Kingwood doubled up or got another victory over Pearland. We had Pearland going through for that here. Humble got by Clear Lake. Humble Atascosa got by Clear Lake 2-1. Seven Lakes ended Memorial because I think Memorial was the Houston team that had a deep run last year, if memory serves me right. And then Ridgepoint got by Cy-Fair 1-0 to set up Ridgepoint versus Seven Lakes and Humble Atascosa versus Houston Kingwood.
Yeah, Kingwood. I mean, I know they've had the tradition there. They're for the especially the girls soccer. Big win over Pearland. They got a tough matchup with Humble Atascocita on that one. But I'm going to give the edge to Humble Atascocita on that one. The top one, that's a regional final right there. It's caliber level game. Seven Lakes is a great program. They've been one of the dominant teams for Region 3. But Ridgepoint has been one of the top teams in the state and also in the nation. It's may go down. Like I said, I can see this game going to overtime, but I'm going to give the edge to Ridgepoint on that one.
And then moving down, Bel Air got by Houston, Cypress Creek. Katie Thompson won in PKs over George Ranch, Richmond George Ranch 1-1. Stratford put up 12 on Houston West Side. Katy High School got by Sugarland Fort Bend Clements 3-0. Deer Park 3-0 over Houston Summer Creek. Pearland Dawson fell to League City Clear Falls 3-0. Beaumont Westbrook 9-0 over Pasadena Sam Rayburn. And League City Clear Creek got by Pearland Shadow Creek. Beaumont Westbrook got by League City Clear Creek. And League City Clear Falls upset Deer Park, which is who we had for that here. And then and then Stratford got by Katy, and we had Katy going through, and then Katy Tompkins 3-1 over Bel Air. So Katy Tompkins versus Houston Stratford, League City Clear Falls versus Beaumont Westbrook.
That's gonna be another great game up top. But I'm gonna still favor Katy Tompkins on that one. I think they'll win that one. The bottom one's gonna be a little coin flip because no one expected Clear Falls to really make a run. And also to beat Deer Park too. I mean, that's a quality win. Beaumont Westbrook, like I said, beat a good Clear Creek team. So I'm gonna give the edge that one to Beaumont Westbrook. It'll be a close game, maybe like a 2-1, 3-1. But they're at their run. I'm gonna favor Tompkins on that one.
And then moving on to the other side here, we'll go at the bottom. Lake Travis, Round Rock McNeil 4-0. Johnson over New Braunfels 5-1. Vandergrift over Austin Bowie. Reagan 7-1 over Cibolo Steel. Del Rio got by Harlan 1-0. Edinburgh Vela got by Harlingen South. Brennan got by Laredo United South 8-0. And Los Fresnos got by Edinburgh. Brennan came back to double up Los Fresnos 4-2. Edinburgh Vela knocked out Del Rio. And San Antonio schools got by Austin this year compared to last year, where Austin kind of ran over the San Antonio schools this year. At least on this side of the bracket, it's a little bit different with Reagan winning in PKs over Vandergrift and Johnson getting a quality win over Lake Travis.
Yeah, they got some revenge this year. Well, 3 out of the 4 teams got revenge on those Austin teams. Kudos to the Lady Jaguars and Johnson beating probably, going in the favorite in 6A for Region 4 Lake Travis. So they have some great momentum going to the game, but they're running into a district rival, which is the Reagan Rattlers, and the Reagan Rattlers got some sweet revenge on Vandergrift. Vandergrift went to the state finals last year, only to lose to Flowermountain. I think Reagan was really dead set on getting payback, and kudos to the girls there. So now this sets up a district rematch of the Ian's Cup, and Friday night at Comalander Stadium, 7 p.m. So that's gonna be a great game, and I'm gonna hold off on my pick on that one right now. But on the bottom one, I was surprised. Like I said, I was at the Del Rio Harlan game. Harlan dominated that game. Just one real freak mistake in the box cost him the game. I was surprised about that one. And then the Harlingen South, usually they have a good team in and out, but they threw a good egg there against Edinburgh Vela. And then Vela gets a good comeback win against Del Rio. But Vela's got the pleasure of playing one of the top teams in San Antonio, which is Brennan. I think Brennan's going to take care of business, and they're going to get into the regional semifinal. As far as that one on top of Reagan and Johnson, that's a toss-up.
We'll leave it as it is. And
yeah, we'll come back to that one.
All right, up top, Clark took care of Schertz Clemens 9-2. Austin High School upset Round Rock Westwood 1-0. Smithson Valley got by Madison 3-1. Austin Westlake got by Round Rock 1-0. Harlingen got by Edinburgh Indomites 1-0. O'Connor got by Laredo Nixon 9-2. Juarez Lincoln rolled Hana 5-0, and Taft rolled Laredo United. In the area round, a little bit tougher for Taft, but they did get by Juarez Lincoln 1-0. Harlingen continued its impressive path, 5-0 over Harlingen. Austin Westlake Austin Westlake beat Smithson Valley 1-0, and Clark. I don't think it was an upset. We had them here, but they got by Austin High School for that here. So I don't want to say it was an upset because we'd picked Clark to go through, but so sets up in the bottom half of the bracket 3 San Antonio schools and Austin Westlake, which from my understanding is a pretty quality program historically.
The surprise was Westlake beating Smithson Valley, and Smithson Valley has been my number one team in the Gross for pretty much for most of the season.
Whole season, yeah,
pretty much the whole season, and I'm watching them play a few times, and they beat Westlake during the regular season, but Westlake was able to find a way to get some revenge on this one, and we were able to pull out a squeaker. But it sets up a tough matchup with Clark, and Clark is not a pushover. They won, 28-6A, which is deep in, there's 6-7 teams that could have made the playoffs in that district. Just how deep that those schools are, that district is. But I think that game, Clark's finds a way. I think they'll knock off Westlake. It'll be a tight one, but I think Clark's going to win that one. And then the bottom bracket, another rematch. Taft and O'Connor. That one's going to be played 7 p.m. at the north side field on the grass field. It's kind of weird. I'm surprised they're not playing at Gustafson, but
do you think that's by the schools wanting to play on grass as opposed to the bigger stadium?
Well, remember the regional semifinals is going to be on grass at Blossom, so this could be them already getting used to playing on grass, right before, the regional tournament. So they probably did this by design. So,
do you think they'll adjust the seating for that? Because there's no offense to the north side fields, but
they would have to, because it's going to probably be packed that night. So, yeah, I was kind of confused about that, because normally you want to have a big turnout, so they're gonna have to move some bleachers, on the other side, so people can watch the game. But that game is gonna be, I think that's gonna be another close game. O'Connor is gonna be looking for revenge on that game, especially
because that cost them the title, right?
Cost them the title. I had the pleasure of meeting the coach from Taft. He had a lot of great things to say about the show, so thank you very much. And he had a tough win against La Jolla. I mean, they won on a corner kick, and it was a very windy game from what I saw some of the video, but it was a quality, shot into the goal from a header. But I think I'm gonna favor O'Connor in that game. I think they learned their lesson from that game, and I think they'll advance. And we're gonna see a Northside ISD semifinal in the regional tournament.
So unless the El Paso defense shows up here, I'm fairly confident the United States is going to be going to the World Cup. They're still down 2-0 to Costa Rica, but they're in the 86th minute. So barring them giving up, 4 goals in that time period, I don't foresee them not advancing to the World Cup. And Mexico in the 81st minute is up 2-0 over El Salvador, so they're fairly comfortable. Canada just tied it against Panama for that here. They were already locked in. And Jamaica's got a 2-1 lead in the 84th minute over Honduras. So, but, for us that are United States fans, well, not the result we want, but it's the result we need to be able to qualify. So, for that here. Moving to the bottom of the bracket, Lake Travis 4-0 over Round Rock McNeil. Johnson 5-1 over New Braunfels. Vandergrift 1-0 over Austin Bowie. Reagan 7-1 over Cibolo Steel. Del Rio over Harlan 1-0. Or we already went over this, right? Yeah, we already went over this.
I was going to give my pick for that game because I was holding up for Reagan and Johnson. who had the bigger win out of the two? And I actually kind of put them at as far as Reagan beat the team they lost last year, and they got manhandled by Vandergrift, who is the defending regional 6A state finalist. And then you have Lake Travis, the perennial power, year in year out, and Johnson to go beat them, 2-1 speaks volumes. But I'm gonna give the edge for this game. I'm gonna give the edge to Reagan.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that close.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the edge to Reagan. I know
Reagan's only lost once, and yes, it was to Johnson, but that's really their only blemish. Reagan, I believe,
and they
beat Clark. Where I think Johnson lost to Clark 2-1. For that, now they did beat him otherwise, but Reagan beat Johnson 3-1 on the 8th, and then Johnson also lost to Lee the following week on the 15th. So to me, like so here now, could it be that Reagan that Johnson was coasting down the path, because going into the playoffs they had 2 losses and a tie to Clark, Reagan, and Lee, which are quality opponents, compared to Reagan that beat Lee, Roosevelt, Churchill, and then their loss was to Johnson on February 5th, but beat Roosevelt, beat Churchill, and beat Johnson on the 8th. So to me, the momentum is with Reagan, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that win versus Vandergrift was not necessarily it wasn't more meaningful than the other, but I think to them meant a lot more because they got the monkey off their back, and I think they had something to prove, because I was there last year's game. They were just flat out embarrassed. They got ran out of Comalander, and the look on their faces just said it all. And this was like a redemption game, and I think now they're really on a mission to complete it, to get to the regional tournament next week.
I will say this, just looking ahead, the odds of this happening, just being honest with how the season, has gone and the playoff brackets. But if you look in the Elite Eight, we've got Clark versus O'Connor and Reagan versus Brennan. That would be pretty awesome for San Antonio schools, and I believe that's here in Blossom, right?
Blossom, yeah, next Friday.
So, not saying it'll happen, because I know Westlake's a talented team, and Edinburgh Vela will have something to say. But for fans of San Antonio High School girls soccer, or San Antonio High School soccer in general, I don't think for San Antonio hosting the regional quarter, semifinal, or quarterfinals and semifinals, you couldn't ask for anything better on the girls' side.
Yeah, and I think even for 5A, with Bernie Champion, and also in the 4A with Davenport, Bernie High, and also Canyon Lake, it's been like a redemption for San Antonio girls soccer, because last year, we got dominated by the Austin teams.
Well, we had conversation of, I remember the conversation. We had conversations of, hey, has Austin opened up a gap over San Antonio with the academy structure that they have, and along those lines? Because last year it was the opposite. You could say where San Antonio was not able to handle the Austin teams, and I think the matches were closer this year compared to last year, because I think last year the results were fairly one-sided. Where this year, even in the losses for Austin, for instance, they were close losses. So, not to take anything away from the Austin girls for that here, but for San Antonio, like I said, it's a market improvement based on the conversation that we had last year compared to now.
Yeah.
So we, instead of being an hour, we're hitting 3 hours.
I was thinking it'll be shorter.
Instead of being able to watch it, the game here, I have semi-watched the show. With interrupting here, but your thoughts on Mexico advancing to the World Cup? Looks like a fairly comfortable 2-0 win over El Salvador and the United States. They're losing. Don't get me wrong, but like I said, I think they've always struggled down in Costa Rica. And to be honest with you, I didn't see the lineup, because I was prepping for the show. Obviously, as a United States fans, you want to win every match, but for this one here, they got the job done. That's all you can say.
Look, I just showed right now the standings. So that means Mexico finishes in second ahead of the United States.
They do, but guess what? We're in the same pot. So Does it really? It doesn't matter.
So we may end up either at Qatar's part or one of the 7 other deadly European or South American teams. So which we'll find out probably Friday.
Friday, yeah. And let's see here. The United States always ends up in a tough group for whatever reason. So the draft will be 11 a.m. April 1st, broadcast on Fox Sports 1 and Telemundo in the United States, and there is a live stream option on Fubo TV if you have that. But yeah, so lunchtime, by lunchtime, well, they tend to draw that out right a little bit with the presentation. Although that'll be interesting because just the last second qualifying for it here. So and I did get the Ukraine, was it Ukraine Scotland?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be in June for that qualifying match, then to play the play-in game at that point. So that'll be in June. That'll be decided, and then there's the play-in matches, which Costa Rica is going to be going against New Zealand, and I wish Fatma would move here. What was it? Peru, I think yesterday got in from
CONMEBOL.
I forget who they're playing. It's from Africa, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Or it could be an Asian team.
Oh, that's right. World Cup. World Cup playoffs. Yeah, it doesn't tell me. Final overview. Yeah, I can't find it, but yeah, I know that you're right. It is a.
They play, I think.
The AFC fourth round winner.
Australia or United Arab Emirates.
Yeah, that's right. And our buddy Chris Hockman doesn't think that even if Australia wins, because they're on a losing streak at this point here, they don't think that they have a chance to play. The interesting things is this will be scheduled to play in Qatar on June 13th or 14th for that here. So it is no home advantage for that here. So all 4 teams, Costa Rica, and it is over. Costa Rica did beat the United States 2-0. So it'll be Costa Rica versus New Zealand, and then the winner of Australia and
these are just one-off games, right?
Yeah, it's winning in.
I remember they used to do the home and home.
United Arabs, and that's on June 7th. So Peru will have an advantage or disadvantage because.
Well, I think United Arabs might have the advantage with that heat.
Oh, that's true, and it's over. That's true. Australia will be the one that's traveling, so UAE will most likely have the fan support over there in Qatar. That would be correct, and then UAE then would play Peru. Now, one advantage that I would see then is Australia will already be over there a week earlier, most likely, than Peru.
Yeah.
So they'll be used to the climate a little bit more at that point. But
They're building. They have dome stadiums, right?
I believe so. Yeah, it's supposed to. It'll. It's supposed to be. But yeah, it's it'll be interesting. Portugal got in, Poland got in, and Scotland, Ukraine will play in June. Within the winter, we'll face Wales and for at Wales for that here, and the Ukraine Scotland is in Glasgow in June there for that if they do end up playing that match, which from every indications it sounds like that they are going to try to play that match for that here. So World Cup qualifying's over. I know we are discussing and making some changes coming forward with the podcasts here. So stay tuned for that here. We'll get into that a little bit more in detail. We're working out some details, but we're going to try to maybe simplify some things a little bit here, make it a little bit easier for that here. So with that here, Royce has got some nice shirts coming for us here. We'll pick up this weekend or so for that here. So thank you, Royce, and whoever that you went through. Rafa, 9 hours in the last 2 weeks. Thank you. And I know you did the show with Coach on Sunday, and you got another one coming up on Sunday. Do you know what time that'll be approximately? I know last week was in mid-afternoon.
They're still waiting to see because I do work on Sunday. I have to be at a conference at West River Hills, so I did mention to Coach Connell maybe in the evening. So maybe it could be about 8 o'clock. We're not sure yet, but it'll be just a rundown of what we discussed today, and then also have those guest coaches to discuss, some of the their playoff games coming up, and then also the results from the quarterfinal. To see
what time's your conference start? Because
afternoon.
Oh, in the afternoon, so you'll be able to do the Sunday morning show.
Yeah.
Saturday night, San Antonio FC hosts Phoenix Rising in a game that it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see the health of San Antonio FC after last week. Also, it'll be interesting to hear about Rising on Friday night at 7 o'clock our time. 7 or 8, I forget which one. I believe it's 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I'm going to speak with Owen from Go Phoenix to talk about Rising. He already tweeted out that there may be some changes in the Rising lineup already. So hopefully by then we'll have a little bit better understanding of what Rising will possibly look like. For that, they tend to be a little bit more transparent than SAFC does. So on San Antonio Soccer Roundtable, we've got a lot of stuff coming for you. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Please like and subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple. If you can please leave comments, positive, negative. Obviously prefer the positive 5-star comments. Helps with getting our show out there. And then on YouTube, if you could please subscribe for that here. That helps get the show more visibility along those lines here. But Rafa, thank you. And the final plug here, I got to make sure. I got to get my script down on this here. Please go to almost ended the show there. Please go to satxsoccer.net if you want to listen to any recaps or any of the episodes, or on the video podcast. You can also get through there. Also in the bottom right hand corner, there's a little microphone that you can call or that you can leave a voicemail for us here. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Rafa, thank you. And like I said, I hope everybody has a great day. And what's life without goals? We're out.